everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this October 31st, 2024. Michael, Don, and Peter. It's Halloween today, but there was a lot of scary stuff going on in the Bronx yesterday. Just absolutely inconceivable what happened. Think about it. In Game 1, the Yankees had a winning probability of 86%. Yesterday, they had a winning probability of 95%. After being up 5-0. And then they were up again late in the game. And somehow it didn't happen. And I guess if you watched the game yesterday, you shouldn't be all that surprised because one of the problems that the Yankees had all year, there's two problems they had all year. They run the bases terribly. Statistically, they're the worst base running team in Major League Baseball. Now, that didn't bite them yesterday. And they don't play great defense. They just don't. Now, I'm just looking yesterday at all the there's no accountability. Yeah, really? Is that why Aaron Judge dropped the ball in center field because there's no accountability? I mean, that's just silly. Is that why Anthony Volpe, who won a Gold Glove, made a bad throw and got an error? That's because of no accountability. I don't know what to make of Garrett Cole not covering first. I don't have any idea what happened. He said that he was cutting the ball off, and then he took a bad angle, couldn't get over to cover first, and that unleashed the Hounds. And the Yankees turned a 5-0 lead into a 5-5 game, and you just got such a sinking feeling, Don and Peter, at that point, that they were going to lose the game, and they ended up losing the game.
Yeah, but the incredible thing, Michael, and all those things are true. I mean, you had a 5-0 lead. You're thinking blowout. You're thinking about L.A. on Friday, all the pressure on the Dodgers, and then that implosion happens. But you still took the lead.
Yeah.
Right? So you overcame it. All right. Obviously, you shouldn't have been in that situation to have a one-run lead going into the eighth inning. But, Michael, you had a one-run lead going into the eighth inning. You got off the mat. Stanton hits the fly ball that brings in the go-ahead run in the eighth inning. You're 6 outs away. So you shouldn't have been in that situation. I 100% agree, and we're going to evaluate that inning as maybe one of the worst innings in the history of the Yankees organization. Just the way it was played. I don't know.
And what's at stake. Right.
Yeah, and what's at stake. Listen, I don't know. They could have won that game last night on Friday, lose 10-0, and lost the series anyway, but we'll never know because of that inning. But with all that said, Michael, it's 6-5. You got the lead, and you couldn't close it out. I mean, that's what it comes down to, Michael. Because if I was to tell you that you're going to have a lead going into the eighth inning, the way the Yankees bullpen has been, and listen, they were exhausted, and obviously Weaver, 3 straight days and all that, and we'll dissect that a little bit more later on too. But you were still, despite that inning, despite that catastrophe, 6 outs away from playing tomorrow in Los Angeles.
And let's talk about the one-run lead, okay? Because there's a couple of ways it could have gone. And a manager always looks bad when he pushes the button that doesn't work. And I thought that Boone pushed a lot of good buttons this postseason. One bad button he pushed, in my opinion, Game 1 bringing in Cortez, it didn't work. And then yesterday, after you take Cole out with 2 outs in the 7th, by the way, we'll get to that later. I thought Cole was magnificent. Mm-hmm. Magnificent. 108 pitches, throwing 99 miles an hour.
No earned runs.
No earned runs. He was great, Peter. So you take him out with 2 outs and a runner on in the 7th inning. You bring in Holmes. Holmes walks a batter and then strikes out the final batter for the final out. Well, if you bring Holmes out to start the 8th, right, you could take him out at any point. But once you bring in Tommy Kahnle, well, then you're tied and you're tethered to the 3-batter rule. Now, Kahnle was great for the Yankees all year. He has not had good command at all of late in the postseason, and he ends up loading the bases. You can't take him out until the bases are loaded because he's got to face 3 guys. If it was Clay Holmes out there and he let the lead guy on, then you bring in Weaver at that point. But by bringing in Tommy Kahnle, again, who had no command this World Series, none. He loads the bases, and you bring in Weaver. I know what he was trying to do because Weaver's pitched a lot. He didn't want to get 2 innings out of Weaver. Well, you ended up doing it anyway, and what you did was you brought Weaver in with the bases loaded with no margin of error. And by the way, Weaver did great. Got all the batters that he had to get out, but he had 2 sacrifice flies, and that's the game. So if you're going to use Weaver to get 6 outs anyway, wouldn't you bring him in for a clean inning? And if you were hesitant about Weaver getting those 6 outs, then you should leave Clay Holmes in because you could take him out right away. Because once you finish an inning, then the 3-batter rule is out the window. You could take him out after 1 batter if he lets anybody on. Instead, you put Holmes in an untenable situation, and he ends up giving up 2 sac flies. He was brilliant, by the way, and that's the ball game, and that's the World Series. And it's going to be the Yankees lost the World Series in 5 games. I'm sorry. Are the Dodgers better? Well, they're certainly better in this series. They're not that much better. The Yankees should be in L.A. today getting ready for Game 6.
But unfortunately, Michael, I mean, part of the analysis of who's good and who's bad are, the Yankees kind of yanking themselves in the 5th inning. That's kind of what they've been all year. Making those types of mistakes that lead to you wondering, why aren't they fundamentally better? Now, nobody's thought that kind of catastrophe coming, Michael, but when you say, well, they should be there, well, they're not because they couldn't get the job done in the 5th inning and then with the lead in the 9th inning. I'm with you. I think he got caught up in not wanting to use Weaver for 6 outs because it was a 3rd consecutive day. I get that. But I think Holmes would have probably been the better option. But if Holmes gives it up, Michael, what is everybody saying? Oh, Holmes is a bum.
But you're not going to allow him to give it up is what I'm saying. If he gets a runner on, then you go to Weaver. Instead, Weaver had to come in with the bases loaded.
And the other thing, too, with Canely is, and I know he's been effective, Michael, but when he comes in and Smoltz reminds everybody that all he's done is thrown changeups, I'm thinking to myself, this is the one team that's going to kind of figure this out, right? That the Dodgers are just so prepared, they're so good that they're going to expose this, and they ended up being selective, doing everything they need to do to be able to load the bases and put it there. So I know you think we should be there because of the way it went down, but that's kind of what the Yankees are, Michael. They're not that fundamentally sound. The Dodgers are. And the Dodgers are a kind of team and a kind of offense. We reminded you that when the series started. They're relentless offensively. They just keep coming, and they're going to keep coming, and they're going to keep coming. And if you give them 6 outs in an inning, Michael, you're lucky you only gave up 5. I mean, we could still be batting right now the way that team can bat and the way the opportunities they were able to take advantage of.
Now, but I'm sorry, but real quick. Does anything more sum up, though, the topsy-turvy insanity that has just been this sort of elongated disaster, like the night for Aaron Judge last night?
Yeah.
I mean, that was it, guys. When I saw him hit the home run, do you guys remember way back in the day when Bonds was in Pittsburgh and just could not do anything in the playoffs? And then that big spot, he hit a double, and he hit his chest, pointed up to the sky, and was like, it's over. And you could tell, he had this moment. I thought the home run last night was, it's over. And now the Dodgers have a serious problem the rest of this series. And by the way, Aaron Judge showed with his bat, including the double at the end of the game, he really might have been in a completely different place.
He had 2 walks, too, Peter. He was on 4 times out of 5 at-bats.
No, he was good.
And the one time he made out, he just missed hitting the ball out in left field. It went back to the lip of the warning track. So his swing was fixed.
Completely fixed last night. Yeah, I thought that one was out too. He was unreal on offense, but now that what we're going to remember was that his first error of the season. You can argue, guys, we can argue it's Garrett Cole covering first base. We can argue the Volpe error, but the one that's going to stand out for people forever, guys, is the Judge error. And it's such a brutal moment.
And it's a brutal moment, but people are just completely unfair. I mean, it's not Buckner. It's not Luis Castillo. Those ended games. This was in the beginning of a catastrophic inning, and it obviously was the highlight. And to see somebody who's so sure-handed drop something so easy, like the Volpe play, hey, it would have been a nice play. He should have made it. It's clearly an error, but hey, listen, you're not going to beat him up too much. That was a tough play. This is a can of corn. This is easy. But still, God, there was opportunity after opportunity after that for him to be bailed out, and he wasn't. So you could say, oh, Cole. Well, Cole doesn't have to give up the 2-run single to Freeman, right? There's so many things that happen after that. So, yes, it led to the big inning, but there were many opportunities, Peter, where he could have been bailed out by it. So I can't put it up there with Buckner. There was no turning back after Buckner. The game was over. Luis Castillo dropping that A-Rod pop-up, game over. Game was not over. It was early enough in the game, early enough in the inning for the Yankees to bail their star player out, and no one did.
Well, here's the inning, essentially. All right, so Hernandez leads off, Kike Hernandez, single to right. Then Edman with a fly ball to center field. And Judge just said after the inning, I just dropped it. He had no excuses. Right. Then a fielder's choice, it's 1 out. Then a strikeout of Lux where he threw 99 miles an hour. There's 2 outs. And then by being out there as long as he was, and the strikeout of Lux was the first out. Then he strikes out Ohtani for the second. He's an out of way of getting out of it. And then Mookie Betts hits that squibber with spin on it to Anthony Rizzo. Now, if you watch Yankee baseball a lot, Anthony Rizzo was a Platinum Glove winner. Does not like to take the ball to first base himself. He just does it. He wants his pitcher to run to first base. Now, he did not charge into the ball because he wanted to make sure he fielded the ball. And then because of the spin, he had to wait back to get the proper hop. At that time, I think Cole was probably exhausted. And he doesn't go over to first. No excuse. He should have gone over to first. And then I think the exhaustion does kick in because then he gives up the 2-run single of Freeman. Then he gives up the 2-run double Hernandez. It was like a bad dream. It was Halloween a day early, unfolding right in front of you. I'm sitting there next to Meredith in the press box. Couldn't believe what was going on. And then she pointed something out, which Don also pointed out on our text chain. At no point did the Yankees send Matt Blake out to talk to Garrett Cole.
No,
forget about like giving him any sage advice. Give him a deep breath.
The second I texted, everybody had the meeting at the mound. I don't think anybody came out, Michael. But
it was Rizzo making the meeting.
Right. So, which he's done. But during all that, just give the guy a blow. You're right. You don't need to give him any advice. It's just like, let's just calm it down here for a second, right? Things are starting to fall apart all over. It's a little chaotic. Let's just calm the situation down. I couldn't believe nobody came out. Nobody stopped. And then by the time they did have the meeting, Michael, it felt like, well, it was probably too late at that point to calm down the madness. I was really shocked by that.
It was a mess. It was a mess of an inning. And as Don said, the Yankees have toughness to them. All right, they've come back from gut punch losses. They've come back from gut punch innings, and they came back and they took the lead. I thought once it was 5-5, it was going to go downhill, and the Dodgers would win like 9-5 or 11-5. But the Yankees did take the lead. And then the bullpen, which was great all postseason, it didn't click. Tommy Kahnle didn't click. And they lose a game that, after the game, Aaron Boone was almost crying. He got really choked up on the podium saying how heartbroken he was. And they kept that clubhouse closed much longer than they're allowed to keep it closed because guys were just devastated.
Yeah.
And I've said this before, everybody, even if they won the World Series, the 2025 Yankees are going to be almost unrecognizable to the team that you just saw. Well, they didn't win the World Series, and it's going to be unrecognizable. If you look at all the players that are going to be free agents, especially Juan Soto, and how many are going to come back or they even want to come back, it's going to be completely different. Completely different. But one thing they have to do, we came out on the field after the game. And because you can't go on the air until the trophies are given away at the podium. So I walked over to the Fox set, and I was talking first to David Ortiz. You know what David Ortiz told me? I'm sick to my stomach seeing that. This is a Red Sox, right?
Right.
Alex said, that's one of the worst innings that I've ever seen in 40 years of watching baseball. And then Derek Jeter kind of had a dazed look on his face. And he said, Mike, I've never seen an inning like that in my whole life. In Little League, in any level of baseball I've ever seen or played in. I've never seen an inning like that, fifth inning. And then he said, the one thing you can't do with the Dodgers, you can't give them 6 outs in an inning because they will take advantage of it. And take a look where the Yankees didn't take advantage yesterday. The Dodgers kept walking people. They kept loading the bases, and the Yankees never got the big hit.
That's the thing, too. They 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position?
Yes, and that was the deal the whole postseason.
So it's really hard not to focus on the fifth as the reason they lost. But, Michael, when you rank it, they took the lead. In the eighth inning, they had a 1-run lead. They left a small village on the bases. They were just could not clutch it, which is also something else that has always been kind of a recurring theme with this Yankee team in the postseason of just getting that key hit. So, Michael, they had numerous avenues to get out from under that inning. That's what's got to really drive you crazy because you could say that it was crippling and demoralizing, and history will remember that because history never gives you the details. They give you the highlights. So history is always going to focus on that 5th inning as the reason. They're not going to go into the details of they had a lead in the 8th inning. They were 6 outs away. They left. They were 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Had a glorious opportunity at times to tack on runs so that inning would not have given up the lead. So as devastating as that inning was, Michael, there's still other reasons why they lost.
They let the bases loaded in the 2nd. They left 2 runners on in the 4th at 1st and 2nd with 1 out in the 4th inning. Judge with that deep fly ball to left. Chisholm strikes out looking. They leave the bases loaded in the bottom of the 5th. That's when they could have answered back.
Yeah.
The Dodgers just scored the 5 runs, and the Yankees loaded the bases, single, hit by pitch, walk, and Gleyber Torres with a fly ball to right. They leave 2 runners on in the 6th inning when they ended up scoring 1 run. That was on Stanton's sacrifice fly. Then they leave 2 runners on in the 8th. 1st and 2nd, 1 man out. Stanton with a fly ball to right. Rizzo strikes out. And then they go down quietly against Walker Buehler in the 9th. And Dave Roberts was making decisions that you go, what is he doing? He brought in Blake Trinan in the 6th inning. He had no high-leverage relievers left. I said, how is he going to get all these outs? But in the back of his mind, he knew he had Walker Buehler.
Yeah.
And Buehler pitched beautifully in the 9th inning. The Yankees went down meekly. I was driving home, and I was like sick to my stomach because I said, wow, that's a game they have to win. And you know how I get a real sense of what the Yankee universe is feeling? I got home last night. I'm not trying to be dramatic, all right? And Jody and Charlie had watched the whole game. And I walked into the living room where they watched the game because I walked into my house about 2 in the morning. And there's a wetness around where Charlie watches the game. It's all damp on the wood floor. So in the morning, I got up. I said, well, what's that spot? She said he was crying for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's a 9-year-old. And you know that there are people that are 60, 50, 40. Yeah. They're sick to their stomach because, hey, if you lose and you get beat, okay, you accept it and you move along. You gave the game away. You gave game 1 away. They should actually be up 3-2. You gave games away. You can't do that to a good team.
No. And, you know, it's interesting, Michael, because, you know, I told you Marco's starting to understand it, and he's all over the game. And then in the 5th, up 5-0, and you see he's trying to fight to stay up. And I wish I could have videotaped it, Peter, like a zombie. He's like trying to keep his eye. He just couldn't. And so he goes to bed. You should have saw him this morning, Michael, when I told him what happened. And he watched the MLB.com's got like the 8-minute video of like all the highlights, like really in-depth stuff, not like just like Sports Center highlights, like giving you each like every key moment. And when I took the phone from him, he's still like he's still holding it, and his head's down, and he just couldn't believe it. Now, luckily, he's only 6, so he can't fully ingest everything that happened. But how old's Charlie now? 9, 10?
Yeah, 9.
Now that's just when that's going to leave a mark, Michael. For 9, you're old enough and understand the game enough that's going to leave a mark.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I hate to be that guy, Peter. You know I hate to be that guy.
But you're going to be.
But so many people would live their life a little bit easier if they just listened to me.
Go ahead, take me through.
Because if in the car, I'm listening to all the post-game interviews. I don't know if you guys heard the entirety of Juan Soto's post-game interview. But let me just encapsulate it for you, or encapsulate it, whatever.
Yeah, encapsulate, not a...
Encapsulate.
Let him be. He's on a roll.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, he's feeling it today.
Juan Soto essentially said, no one has an advantage. I'm going to meet with everybody. I mean, it was like he and Scott Boras worked this out, that under no circumstance was Juan Soto going to say, I love the Yankees. All things being equal, I want to be it. Didn't even give that. Kept saying all 30 teams have the same advantage. So having him on the Yankees this year meant nothing. The love fest that the fans gave him. You know, they asked him, how about the fans and how much love they showed you, right? How much does that mean for you to stay? You know what he said? I think it means more to the Yankee ownership. Like he wouldn't give an inch. And I told you, from the day they acquired him, stop the nonsense thinking he's going to fall in love, which I think he did, And he's going to take less to stay here. He's not, I used to say if it was close, he's not taking a dime less.
No, it's all business.
Not a dime left. He is all business, and that's the way Scott Boras and he have played this out for the last 6 years. When we get to free agency, everybody's equal. So the Yankees treated him like gold. He hit in front of Judge, which gave him his greatest season ever. The fans could not have been more loving to him, and you know what it meant? Nothing. It was 1 year. One more year he had to play to get to free agency. He did not show the Yankees any advantage. No. He said, I love playing here. It was great. I love Judge, blah, blah, blah. But didn't say they had an advantage. I thought that was so stark, guys. I don't know if you thought it.
He's all business. Listen, we had that from the beginning because Scott Boras is his agent. He is going to go with the bottom line. If you think he's going to do what Judge did, where I can go to San Francisco, but he is going to go to the highest bidder. I think that was the plan all along. That was the reason why he left Washington and turned down their number. He has waited for this day, and this day is going to happen. Now, do the Yankees have a chance? Yeah. But that chance is going to come if they pay the most money. Now, if everything is dead even, could there be a face-off just because he had won here and Judge and all those other factors? I don't know. Michael, if it's all even, is Boras just going to say, all right, guys, who's blinking? Somebody's going to have to give a little more. I think it just comes down to the money. I think he's always been about that. To give him credit, I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michael. I don't think there was ever a moment where he's indicated anything differently.
And I'll give you a perfect example, Don. Before Garrett Cole signed with the Yankees, right? He was an Astro for 2 years, and the Astros ended up losing in the World Series that year. Mm-hmm. And after the game, Garrett Cole was conducting interviews. And, you know, he didn't wear an Astro cap.
Nope.
He didn't wear an Astro sweatshirt. He wore a Scott Boras Associates hat. That's how the best clients for Scott are. It's all business. Doesn't make them bad guys.
No.
Because for the owners, it's all business, too. But all Soto had to do was just throw a little bit of a flower or say something. Now's not the time. This is a really tough loss. We'll talk. He just went right out and said nobody has an advantage, including the Yankees, which to me was like kicking Yankee fans in the teeth.
So, because all we're saying is all the people all year long that we're saying, why would he want to go anywhere else? Why would he want to go play for some other franchise? He wants to be a forever Yankee. He wants to be a Monument Park. He wants to hit behind Judge. He wants to be... No, none of that matters.
He wants to make the most money. And he did say he wants a team that's going to win. Now, all the teams that are going to win are all the teams that have the money to sign them are winning teams.
Right. I don't think the White Sox are making an offer, Mike.
No. So any team that has the money, including the Dodgers, the Mets, the Cubs, the Blue Jays, the San Francisco Giants, the Texas Rangers, they're all in play, baby. They're all in play. So all Yankee fans that sat back and thought, well, he's going to fall in love here. He's going to take a lot less money. I kept telling you that's not the case. That's not the case. This is a guy who loved playing in D.C. and turned down $440 million. Turned it down. Said no. And then everybody becomes, well, the Yankees should make an offer during the season. There was no chance of them taking an offer in the middle of the season. The Yankees knew it. Listen, I have no crystal ball. My inclination will be that somebody will offer more money. It could be the team across town. Could be the Dodgers. I don't know. But that was a really bad portent of things to come. He stood there. He answered every single question, but didn't give an inch. Scott Boras is really a smart guy. I mean, super, super bright. And he's had a relationship with Soto since he was a teenager, and they've been planning for this moment for his whole professional life. And all those answers, practiced. No one has an advantage. Imagine that. So not only do the Yankees lose a kick-in-your-teeth World Series, but the guy who helped get them into the postseason and into the World Series said, yeah, I'm good. No, there's no advantage.
So the question with everything that you're saying, Michael, will the Yankees exceed their budget because of everything that you just said?
I think they will go more than they want to, but I think there'll be a team that will go even further.
And I know Jeff Passan said he didn't believe the Dodgers were going to be in on him or get him. But just them sniffing about is going to drive the price up.
Absolutely.
You know, so they'll kick kicking the tires is enough. So even if ultimately they decide we just can't do it, we just got too much going on here with the finances that we have, so we're going to tap out. But as long as they're in, they're going to drive the number up. Because that's the scary thing, is that it looks like it's just about the Mets and the Yankees, which might even be enough because Cohen looks like he's got a bottomless pit of money. But if the Dodgers kick the tires, Giants kick the tires,
Blue Jays,
I mean, it's that is really going to make it very, very difficult. Because again, mom and pop just doesn't seem right to talk about the Yankees. But when you're family owned and all of your money is coming from what you generate, which is a ton of money if you're the Yankees, they print money there. But it's not like the Hal Steinbrenner is sitting on a pile of cash from some other business, some other venture where he can dip into. And some of these owners, Michael, can't. Some of them have multiple owners that can drag money from other places to get it done. So, in essence, Michael, the Yankees are like the mom and pop that they own the store. It's very lucrative, but that's where they make their money. And meanwhile, you got the pizzeria down the street. They make their fair share of money, but they're sitting on some kind of other business that prints money as well that they can dip into.
So depressing that at the end of the worst night in the lifetime of many Yankee fans, because think about it, if you're a 35, 40-year-old Yankee fan, that's probably the worst night of your Yankee life. And then you kind of wake up and see that Soto, no interest particularly in staying.
Well, no interest in giving them a break. That's
what I mean.
Nothing.
So he's not interested in staying.
Totally.
He's not necessarily interested in going. Right. It's just they're one of 30.
Who's offering me the most?
That's it. That's tough.
Yeah, well, because now you just this whole year of the excitement, they're just another team that's betting on them.
That's it.
That's what it just felt like, right? Nothing out of the ordinary. Nice place. Yeah, I'll play there if the money's right, but I'm gonna, you spent a year, dating somebody and you had a great time, and now you're going to decide, do I want to marry him? And then, 5 other girls walk in and they all have the same chance. It's just like, wow, do we have any advantage here?
And for those that think, that you give them a blank check, not in the real world, baby. It's not in the real world. Nobody gets blank checks. Aaron Judge, who's more important to the Yankee organization because he's a homegrown Yankee and had 62 home runs, didn't get a blank check. He didn't. They gave more than they wanted to, but he didn't get a blank check. So if you're going to think that they're going to give Soto and Boras a blank check, fill in your number, that's not happening. It's not happening. Maybe it happens with Cohen. Maybe it happens with the Dodgers. I love also tea leaf reading time. Well, Soto's on playing on the West Coast because it's so far from his home country. Really? With the money he's going to make, you got private jets going back and forth. That was like Peyton Manning was going to sign with the Dolphins because he had a house in Florida. Stop reading the tea leaves. The team that gives him the most money, if it's Seattle, he'll sign there. What a night. What a night. Right now at Bay Ridge Honda, you can get great prices. All right, so this is just unbelievable, the stat. This is from my good friend Jason Stark of The Athletic. Teams that blew a 5-run lead or larger coughed up at least 5 unearned runs, stuffed 3 errors into the old box score, and included both a balk and catcher's interference in those festivities. How many teams have ever done that, you ask, he writes. Exactly 1 team has done that, at least since earned and unearned runs became an official stat in both leagues in 1913. And that team is the 2024 Yankees on Wednesday night. And one additional cherry note about the feat. Not just postseason games. In fact, the Yankees are the first team to have a game like that in any game in the last 112 seasons, postseason or regular season.
And you know what's incredible, Michael? I can't say that I'm surprised. Because when would you see something like that? I mean, that's a lot of bad. Never mind the fact that it happened in a World Series game facing elimination.
And it couldn't have gone any better for the Yankees. They smacked around Jack Flaherty like they owned him. Knocked him out of the game, went out into the second. You're forcing the Dodgers, right, to get, at that point, 4 out of 20 outs out of the bullpen if there's no bottom of the ninth. And if there's a bottom of the ninth, they got 23 outs out of the bullpen.
On just me, a guy who does this show and pulls for, I know you guys hate this, and does root for New York to do well and for people to be happy. I was already off to thinking about how fun our shows Thursday and Friday were going to be. I was so far down the road already and thinking about, oh my God, this is now actually going to become a conversation. And if you win one more, all you got to do is steal one in L.A., steal one in L.A., and you're talking about the greatest history baseball's ever seen.
And if they had just forced a Game 6, Peter, it would be the first time that's ever happened in the World Series.
Right.
I was just forcing a Game 6, so already they would have made history and a chance to even make it more. And, Michael, I was thinking this in the 9th. God, if they could find a way to just make Buehler throw a bunch of pitches.
Yep.
And tie this game up. Win it in extra innings.
They have no Game 7 starter.
What in God's name would they have in Game 6? I know they'd have a day off.
Well, they'd have Yamamoto and hope that he games them late. But if there was a Game 7, they'd have no starter.
They'd have no starter. They'd have their bullpen. You know, Dryden, I don't think would. I mean, I guess he could pitch in Game 6, but you know, you wonder about his effectiveness. Listen, Michael, he wasn't lights out, but that was a hell of an effort by him. You know, getting out of the trouble that he and to give them the length that they got.
Oh, he was amazing. He was amazing.
It was pretty impressive. You know, listen, I know the Yankee fans don't care one iota, nor should they, about the Dodgers, but that's a hell of a team. It just really is a very good. And can you just imagine, Michael, the season they would have had if Glasnow doesn't get hurt?
Well, all their starters.
Yeah, if Shohei Ohtani was able to pitch. Even Kershaw's availability, even though he's never been great in the postseason and he's at the end of his career. But
Gonsolin, so many of their guys just got hurt.
And that's
their starters.
And that's why they had to do what they did. They just didn't have the starters, Michael. But it's crazy going back to previewing the league championship series, like who would you rather play, the Padres or the Dodgers? We both said the Dodgers because we looked at their starting pitching as a weakness. You know, you were picking the Yankees, and a lot of people were because of the weakness. Everybody that we talked about the series with, Boog Shambi, Tim Kurchin, is this eventually going to come to roost, Michael? Just always having to rely so much on the bullpen, and they win the series in 5. Now, I do think it would have come to roost if the Yankees could have won that game last night, but the Dodgers didn't let them do it.
One quick thing. So, I still know that there's that young Yankee fan inside this body, like, grew up living and dying with the team. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there with Paul getting ready to go on the Yes Postgame show. And the Dodgers are celebrating and cavorting on the field. And there must have been 15,000 Dodger fans that the Yankees allowed to stay in the ballpark cheering. And it made me sick to my stomach. I hope the Yankees sat down. They were loud, Peter. They were loud. And I hope the Yankees watch that, because you never want that to happen. You never want somebody to celebrate like that on your field, as they are just, they're joyously dancing around and the kids are running in the outfield. It was sickening. Sickening. And the Yankees allowed it to happen. Not saying that the Dodgers couldn't win the World Series. Let them win in Dodger Stadium. Don't let them do it on the sacred ground of Yankee Stadium.
It kind of reminded me of 04.
Yeah.
You were there in 04. How many Red Sox fans were in that building after Game 7?
A lot. And 03. They lost the World Series on 03 there.
Yeah, but at least there were no Marlin fans.
Right. Because there aren't any. And one other thing about Soto, I know people want to talk, and we'll get to you in a moment. Maybe Soto does want to return to the Yankees. Maybe. Mm-hmm. But Boras has laid down such a game plan. He doesn't want any team that might bid on him to think the Yankees have an advantage. And that's what Soto put out there. Yankees don't have an advantage. Everybody starts at 0. Again, maybe secretly he's telling Boras, you get me the best deal you can from the Yankees. Although I don't know if he's that good of an actor, because he very much seemed like, I'm going to go who pays me the most.
But is there a world, Michael, or put a percentage on? All right, drive up the money, whatever. But it does come down to the Yankees offer a tad bit higher someplace else, and he just tells Boras, listen, thank you for driving the price up, appreciate it, and I know I can get a few more bucks in San Francisco or with the Mets or wherever, but I think I want to stay here. What percentage do you put on that? Because remember, Boras works for him, not the other way around.
Yeah, but so a lot of his guys act as they work for Boras. So,
I know. That's why I would put the percentage low. But
10 to 15%.
All right, that's not nothing. So you're saying there's a chance,
right? But then the Yankees would be at fault, because if it's that close, then step up and make it better. But if the Mets are bidding $10 million more a year, I don't think the Yankees are going to do that. Or if the Dodgers are bidding $15 million more a year, I don't think they're going to do it. If it's close, like say the Mets have an offer of $1 million more a year, well, then it's up to the Yankees to put that $1 million on the table. But if it's someplace that they don't feel comfortable going, you know what they'll do? They'll spend the money on Corbin Burns, on Alex Bregman, on any other number of free agents that they could bring in. They'll spread that money around. You know, I'm seeing a lot of people say, if they lose Soto, it's all over. No, it's not all over. Is it a blow? Yes. But if you're a creative organization, you take that $50 million and you get other players.
You know, it wasn't like you went out and won, 120 games with them this year. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of the fan base doesn't trust Cashman. But there is a scenario, Michael, where because you can spend the money elsewhere, that your team ends up being better at the end of the day. It'd be tough, though, because, God, is he good.
I know. It would be very tough.
Watching that, and as good as Judge is, you saw the struggles. But, God, knowing he's coming up, I don't know how you guys felt. I'm sure you felt exactly the same way. Like, even if he's retired, he's gonna force 6, 7, 8 pitches. He's just gonna be a beast to get out. He does not go down quietly, and he's a hell of a player. And that was a heads-up play too, because another boneheaded play, I thought it was, that didn't come back to haunt them, was Chisholm trying to take second on the sacrifice fly. Michael, if he gets thrown out there, it's possible the run doesn't count.
Yeah.
Now, they did show that last replay that Soto did speed up, so at least he had the baseball IQ to realize, oh, my God, there might be a close play at second. I better speed up. So maybe he would have gotten there anyway. So there was at least a baseball IQ there. But, God, can you imagine, guys, if Jazz got thrown out there and they didn't count the run?
They sometimes do stuff like that you shake your head. But anyway, let's take some phone calls. Let's go to Andres in Punta Cana.
Hey, how you doing, guys? I was at the game on Monday for Game 3. Quickly flew out to Punta Cana. I'm here now to celebrate my birthday. But my birthday was yesterday, and the Yankees gave me the worst birthday gift ever, man.
Ever.
But that Soto interview, I would say let's move on, right? Let's go ahead and spend the money wisely. Spend it on Bregman. Spend it on Anthony Santander, who's a free agent. He hit 44 home runs last season. And then also go after Corbin Burns. Probably utilize Spencer Jones in a trade to get a relief pitcher. But Cashman has to be thinking this way. I know Cashman I call him Cash God, man. A lot of people hate him, but I know he's thinking about a backup plan, man. And I want all the Yankees to believe, man. I believe we're going to be even better next year. It's going to be a wake-up call for Judge, but the main key component of this is going to be Wells and Volpe. That's going to be the main key component. If we could turn those two guys into stars, we're going to be a successful franchise, guys. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you, guys.
Well, I mean, they are going to have to get creative. I thought that, obviously Volpe was better this year offensively than it was last year, but still far below what they expect of him. So he'll continue to mature. I believe in Wells, but boy, the final month and then the postseason, he was dreadful. So you hope that was just him being fatigued, or they figured out a way to pitch to him and he didn't make an adjustment?
It's not an exact comparison because it was different circumstances. You hope this is 76. Where they lost to the Reds, but they turn around, they go out and get Reggie Jackson and win the next 2 World Series. You hope this is the beginning of something, not the end. Now, I understand that there's going to be a lot of changes, Michael, but maybe if that caller's attitude, you make the right changes, maybe we'll look back at this as, something, a learning moment. All right, tip your cap, you lost to a better team. All right, but now next year, you know what? Let's go out, be better, learn from it, and let's create another dynasty. I mean, that's the attitude that they're going to have. See if the fans have it. Not today, obviously, but as the winter goes on, a lot of good things happen this year. But you want to make sure you build off of it.
It's Game Time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Only one local game in town tonight, the Jets and the Texans. We can talk with Brian Costello about that at 4 o'clock. On Thursday night, football starting around 8:15. That's on Amazon Prime. That's Game Time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish Whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew. Try the brand new Tullamore Dew Honey during tonight's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. And Peter wants to tell you about FanDuel. So ESPN did a poll of 28 Major League Baseball insiders, and they predicted the average length and value for Juan Soto's contract, 13 years, $600 million. So that's essentially $46 million. And I think that that's the bottom rung, because that's what Ohtani's contract is worth. You know, they say he makes $70 million a year, but 68 of it is deferred. So the present value is $46 million. You know that Boras is going to want more than that.
Yeah.
Because if you remember when A-Rod signed with Texas, he signed for $252, which is an odd number. Why $252? You know why he did it? Because the highest contract ever in professional sports before that time was Kevin Garnett's $126. So he wanted to double it. That's how Boras rolls.
Exactly. You know, the other missed opportunity, Michael, is I think Shohei was shot. That shoulder.
Yeah, he shouldn't have played. That
slide in Game 2 really opened the door. He shouldn't have been playing. He was a shell of himself. He was a non-entity there. So they were essentially playing without their best player, I think, because he didn't look like those aren't the at-bats you're used to seeing out of him. And you could see he was right. Peter is like tugging at the shoulder after he was swinging.
Yeah.
Clearly, he was not even close to 100%.
Oh, he was wincing for sure. Let's go to Don in Albany. Don.
Oh, Peter and John, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
We're good.
Good. Well, let me tell you, I'm 75 years old. I've been a Yankee fan since I was, 65 years, and I've seen all the Yankee fans that I can see, or the Yankee games I can see. Never in my life have I seen a game like last night. Never.
No, it was one of a kind.
I'll tell you, I got a thought on what they should do. I think, to be honest with you, let Soto go someplace else. Take the money, distribute it, infield, outfield, catcher, wherever they have to use it. Get some more quality pitchers, everything. That's the bottom line. Take Judge, move him back over to right field. Fill up the left and center with some quality players and just go around. I mean, move Jazz over to second. Torres, I think he should go. And, see what happens. But, one thing that bothers me, I don't know whether the Steinbrenner family has a hold someplace, Cashman has a hold on the Steinbrenner family. But to be honest with you, I think that hold needs to stop. I think they need to go for a different general manager.
Well, Don, a lot of people feel that way. And I think that, you just made some good points about, what they might do. They got to the World Series this year. I know the mission statement, championship or bust. They're a World Series team. They're one of the last two teams standing. And you think the general manager stinks? Listen, I know that's the prevailing thought, but they got to the World Series. They fell short, and they certainly had all their warts exposed yesterday. And in the whole series, they don't make plays in the field. They don't run the bases well. All of that, I get it. But they're one of the last two teams standing. You're going to say that Brian Cashman has a hold on Steinbrenner? I don't understand that.
Well, I do understand the fans wondering why he would have a job for life. But if you look at in real time, is he doing that bad of a job? I mean, honestly, it may not be what you want, but you built a team that was good enough to go to the World Series. You built a team that's good enough to go to the playoffs every single year. And if you say, well, this is a team that's supposed to win every year, I'm sorry, take a look at it, guys. Look at the World Series last year. Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers, neither of those teams made the playoffs the next year. I mean, we're living in a world now of parity. Look up and down. The best team in the NFL right now, right, Peter? Kansas City looks flawed to me. Like, they're 7-0, but they don't look right. You're looking at great basketball teams getting off to slow starts. Hockey, it seems like everybody's got the same record. This is kind of what sports are right now. And baseball's no different. So to think that, you're not winning 4 championships every 5 years, Brian Cashman's doing a poor job, you got to measure it differently. I understand you're upset. They lost the World Series last night. They look bad doing it. But maybe I'm wrong, Michael, but I think this was a fun season. You could look at it that way. Say we did a lot, and now let's go out and get better. And I'm not sure you could be satisfied with the exact same thing next year. But give it a chance to grow and see where what can happen with this.
Every team has holes. I mean, the Dodgers came into they didn't have a real shortstop. They're playing Kike Hernandez in center field. They have holes. Believe me, they have holes. But they play a clean brand of baseball, and they take advantage of mistakes. The Yankees are a little lacking in that area. They don't play clean.
We didn't have a 100 winner this year, Michael. Nobody won 100 games. Dodgers had the best record with 98 wins. It's the first time that's happened in a decade. So that tells you that there were no truly head and shoulders great teams that were better than everybody else. The Yankees were the best team in the American League, but certainly the American League was flawed with teams. That's not the Yankees' fault. This is what baseball is right now. It's hard to go out there and win every year, and yet the Yankees still put themselves in a position to do it. Their worst year in 30 years, Michael, they still finished above 500. So maybe Brian isn't living up to your expectations, but moving a different direction?
Well, I mean, but people entered this season not loving Brian, not loving Boone. So the fact that they didn't win, they feel that gives them more. I mean, hey, listen, people can feel what they want. You taught me a couple of weeks ago, and it really resonated with me. Your opinion isn't wrong. It's your opinion. I'll give you mine. It might not line up with yours. I'm not going to say you're wrong. The people feel very strongly. They don't like Brian, and they don't like Aaron.
So all I'm asking is, and again, I understand the frustration of job for life. I get that. It does feel like he's a Steinbrenner brother, and he's never going to get fired. That would frustrate me as a fan as well. But just like anybody who wants a manager fired, who's out there that you know is going to do better? Who is Brian Cashman landlocking away from creating the next Yankee dynasty? But are there any even names that anybody would even suggest, or just change for change's sake? Who? Chaim Bloom? You want to bring him in? Dombrowski? You want to bring him in?
Yeah. I mean, they have jobs.
All right, I'm just saying, but if they became available, are any of these guys, any of the general managers, any of the current, even Stearns, who I'm a Met fan, I love him. Who in there are you going to say, that guy will do a better job than Brian? Or that guy has done a better job than Brian? You going to bring in Theo Epstein?
Yeah, I just think that's the new rallying cry for a segment of Yankee fans. And again, if that's what they feel, that's what they feel. I don't feel that way. Other people do. Other people don't. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think that Hal thinks that Brian's doing a fine job. They got to the World Series, everybody. They didn't win, but they were 3 wins away from getting their 28th championship. They went to the World Series, won their 41st pennant. You can't say it was awful. And remember, a friend of mine just texted me this, and this will resonate with you, Don. Oh, let's get rid of Boone. Let's get rid of Boone. Let's get rid of Boone, right? Remember the Giant fans, how they wanted to get rid of Coughlin? How did it work out for you? You wish you had Coughlin still?
Yeah, I know. What's better? Who's going to do it? I'll ask the same question. All right, get rid of Aaron, but who? Who are you bringing in? Forget about, they're going to bring in the same guy, which they will. But just you have your pick. Who? You want Dusty Baker to come out of retirement to come take the job? You want to take Bruce Bochy from Texas? You want Tony La Russa to come back? Who do you want? I love that too all day today. Listening to that it's Boone's fault that they're not fundamentally sound. I mean, you're a major league ball player. I should expect my center fielder to catch the ball. This is not Little League. What, are you gonna have him run laps after he drops the ball?
But they have to be better at baseball.
They have to. There's no question.
And I don't know where that falls. I don't know if it's organizationally or if it's coaching or is it they've got to be better. I mean, they could argue all they want. Statistically, the worst base running team in the majors. Statistically. And everything is about stats these days. Statistically, the worst. Hey, New York soccer fans, the Audi 2024 MLS Cup playoffs are here. New York City FC takes on FC Cincinnati in round 1, Saturday, November 2nd at Citi Field, with kickoff scheduled for 5 p.m. Enter for your chance to win tickets at ESPNNewYork.com and on the ESPN New York app. Find the contest tab and submit your entry. All thanks to New York City FC. Don't miss out on the MLS Cup playoff action. Get your tickets now at Ticketmaster.com/NYCFC. Jets, Texans tonight, must win for the Jets. We'll talk to Brian Costello, who covers the Jets for the New York Post. Then I promise we will get back to Yankee and World Series talk. But first, Peter has something to tell you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to ENN.
Hey.
Ray Rowe.
On TV.
It's brought to you by Security Dodge.
Yep.
I'd like to start off E&M by saying good evening to Michael.
Derek's last year, he was not the same player. They wouldn't touch him. Alex, they touched.
Good evening to Don.
Listen, if I'm swimming in a pool of stupid, you know what I do? I climb out.
Good evening to myself and Tommy Smokes.
Tommy, you went to Fordham. You're better than this. I know you will. You got to be better than this.
Be honest with me, Tommy.
I'm not.
Now, listen, we're going to play a little bit of audio related to the Yankees, but let's try not to go into a full... We're obviously going to keep going full hardcore Yankees when ENN is done, but I did want to at least give people some of the audio that we've been discussing because we haven't gotten a chance to hear it yet. First and foremost, let's start with the manager, Aaron Boone, on just how close this team was, but how the Dodgers were simply better.
Really, that's what it was all about. I mean, just guys pouring their hearts out and being there for one another, loving each other, and because obviously this is a very difficult moment for us. You get to this point, you know, as I said to the guys, you know, this obviously it stings now, but this is going to sting forever. And there were just a lot of heartfelt messages to each other, and so I apologize for that. Congratulate the Dodgers and Dave on, you know, winning it all. You know, they were the better team in this series, but doesn't take away my pride of this group and what we've been through, what they've gone through, what they've battled through, and the togetherness that they have.
It's amazing how Dave Roberts has emerged as one of the great villains in Yankee history. You know, the stolen base in 2004. Now he's managed a team to beat the Yankees here in 2024. He's a significant burr in their saddle.
Yeah, no question.
As for Aaron Boone and his thoughts on the fundamentals that were a problem for this team all year.
I don't know. I mean, a 3-1 play, I think from a PFP standpoint, we're pretty good. It's always magnified when, obviously, in a moment it doesn't happen. So I'd have to look for sure, but I would imagine from a pitching standpoint, we're pretty good at those kind of things. You know, those are tough plays to be super consistent at, you know, especially when you have 12, 15 times 20 different pitchers kind of rolling through with different skill sets. Some we work hard at, so we had a rough inning tonight.
Aaron Judge, losing the World Series. What's that like, Brud?
I think falling short in the World Series will stick with me until I die, probably. I think just like every other loss, you know, those things don't go away. They're battle scars along the way, and, you know, hopefully when my career is over, we got a lot of battle scars, but also a lot of victories along the way, too.
I really feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
I really do, because he's a good guy. He's a great player. That error in center field, I mean, it happens to the best of them, and it was at the most inopportune time. He had a great game offensively, so he was definitely coming around, and he's going to wear this. He is, because he's the captain of the team.
I don't know how they do it, Michael, honestly. I don't know how. I guess that's why they're professional athletes and we're not, but you're the same way as I am. You make a mistake on a broadcast, you take it home with you. It bothers you. It rattles around in your mind, and they're not keeping score of us. You know, we might hear criticism from people, but, you know, at the end of the day, not that many people are keeping score of our mistakes. As a professional athlete, they are. You know, the wins and losses. So he's going to have to carry that with him. And because he's so good, Michael, he's going to think about that more. He's going to think about the home run or the great catch in center field or the 58 home runs he hit during the course of the year. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. Live with a mistake like that and not be able to correct the mistake until a year from now.
Yeah, and, you know, the error in center field, you're right, Don, it kind of obscures the fact that he made just one of the most unbelievable catches you'll ever see. I guess it was against Freeman, right? Yeah. It was a Freeman drive to the wall. So, yeah, and that's going to be forgotten. It's going to be washed away. I want to make sure that
What you want, guys. Simply what you want. Giancarlo Stanton had a hell of a series and a hell of a playoffs. Let's hear from Giancarlo. What can you take from this loss?
Never to have this feeling again. Any type of focus, miscues, or anything, just to up the level in all aspects.
But let's get to the real meat of it. Let's hear from Juan Soto. Let's hear the actual words coming from his mouth. First, Soto on upcoming free agency.
It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a good experience. I think every player in the big leagues want to experience how it's going to be the free agency. So exciting to see how it's going to be.
All right. Will this be your final game as a Yankee, you think?
You never know, man. At the end of the day, we will see where we are. Definitely a tough game to be my last one, but really happy with what we accomplished as a team and how far we got. We wanted to be the last team standing, but things happen.
So far, nothing. What about on his time in New York?
I'm really happy with the city, with the team, how these guys do, but at the end of the day, we will see. We're going to look at every situation, every offer that we get, and take a decision from there.
All right, well, how about this? At least the fans chanting and loving you, would that have any impact on you staying?
Probably impact the decision of the ownership. We will see how it goes. So definitely really excited and really thankful for those fans. They've been incredible all year long.
So there you go, kids. We know one thing. Juan Soto wants to get paid. He wants to play baseball. Everything else is completely up in the air.
And really, I know we've got more phone calls today about let Soto go. It's almost like the girl who says she doesn't want to date you, and you go, I don't want to date her either. I don't think Juan Soto's saying he doesn't want to date you. He's just saying, I'll date you if you have the most money. So don't hate him. It's a business. It's a business for owners. It's a business for him. I think he could have been a little bit more diplomatic last night, but he's just speaking the truth. We want people to say the truth. He's saying the truth. Show me the money.
He's all business, Michael. And that's probably what makes him a great player. He's just all about the task at hand, and now the task at hand is free agency. But, Michael, there is a scenario, as ridiculous as it sounds on the surface, that they can end up coming out of this a better team, a more well-rounded team. It sounds ridiculous, but we have seen great players leave organizations. We saw Bryce Harper leave Washington, and then Washington wins a championship. Right? Well,
look at the Padres. They traded Juan Soto. They did better this year.
They did much better. It happens. It happens a lot. Where, just because you're now able to utilize the money in other places and become more well-rounded of a team. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're going to replace Juan Soto. You can't. He's a forever generational player. But it is possible that maybe you can improve your rotation. You might be able to improve third base. You might be able to just be a more well-rounded team. And at the end of the day, Michael, spending maybe less money than you would having to give him all that. So we may look back at that and say it was the worst decision they ever made, or we may look back at it and go, wow, look how much better this team is. It is possible.
It's possible, but obviously the team is better with Soto.
Well, we'll see. Well, let's see where they use that money. What if they get Corbin Burns and he goes out and wins the Cy Young, wins 22 games, and the Yankees win 10 more games than they won the year before? I'm probably looking at it like through very optimistic eyes, but there is a path to that. It's not the end of the world. It'll stink, but it's not like we haven't seen teams get better in all sports. When they lose somebody, but then they use that money or utilize their resources elsewhere and actually come out a better team.
All right, guys, let's talk about something happy. The New York Knicks get a win. How about that? 2-2, your New York Knickerbockers. Let's talk Cat, shall we? 44 points in a 116-107 win over the Miami Heat last night. Let's hear from Tom Thibodeau on Cat.
I love his approach because he's not forcing anything, and he's letting the game. I want him to be assertive and everything, but I want him to let the game come to him. And he's very confident in his ability. He's a very gifted scorer, as you saw tonight. But if you look at his whole career, that's really what he's done. He can hurt you a lot of different ways. He doesn't hesitate. He's a lot stronger than he was 5 years ago. He could finish through contact, but he can put it on the floor, shoot the three. There's nothing he can't catch and shoot with him. Everything. So he has the skill set of a guard in a center's body. So it's good and play off each other. And I think the more that this team goes through things together, the better it'll get.
I'll tell you one thing, because it's been obscured with the football and obviously the Mets and the Yankees. The Knicks acquired two great players. Now, they changed the composition of their team, but Bridges and Towns, they're really outstanding players. And then you add them to a nucleus that was already very, very good. How do they not become a better team? I know the bench is short. I get it. But you got Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. Those are really great players. They did that one-off season. I know they gave up a lot for both. I get that, too. But can't we celebrate the fact that they added 2 outstanding basketball players? Can't we, Peter?
Well, listen, I give credit where credit is due. But, I mean, listen, ultimately, it's a very early in a basketball season in which you never know what teams are, basically, until you get practically to the All-Star break. But last night was a hint at what you can get.
Hey, this might...
You want to hear how Tyler Murray called it right here on our airwaves?
Love it.
Let's hear a bit.
A minute 22 to go. Hart drives, kicks, right side 3 from Bridges, in and out from the wing. Another offensive rebound for Towns. Pump fake, put back, got it, and one! Karl-Anthony Towns flexes the muscles on his right arm, high fives OG Anunoby, and he's got a chance to put the finishing touches on a big play and a big night with 43 on the road in Miami. The Knicks are up 11.
Love his voice.
Very good.
Really, really good. Really, really good. Let's go to something big that happened in Los Angeles. I'm talking big time yesterday. 7-10 LA. The Los Angeles Lakers in action, and you will not believe what happened.
All right, here's Bronny with it. Dribbling left. Here you go, Michael.
Come on,
One-on-one.
There you go.
Two-pointer.
Yes! All right, there you go.
And the crowd goes crazy.
I'll tell you, man, this kid's got a good shot.
A 12-footer from the left side, and everybody in the building on their feet.
Finally, I'm so happy for him.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting. They lost 134 to 110.
Yeah, they lost by 100 points.
That's in Cleveland, though, so that's why you get the applause from the hometown Clevelanders as the Lakers lose, but Bronny scores, guys. Oh, man, great success.
Yay!
Here's LeBron James on Bronny's performance.
My sense is that he's better than I would have been in that situation. 20,000 fans screaming my name to get in the game and wanting me to be in the game, and the roles reversed. I don't know if I would have been able to handle it. So just commend him on his composure, the way he approaches, not only the game, but just approach, life in general. And to see him get his first NBA basket in this arena where he grew up not too far away from here, that's an unbelievable moment. Unbelievable moment for him. First of all, for our family, it's just pretty cool to be a part of it.
Wow. What a moment. Bronny James. Let's hear from Bronny on keeping his composure in Cleveland.
I've been just taught to play the right way my whole life, so just me going in there and playing my game is always something that I'm going to do. So, yeah, just going in there with that same mindset and, keep my head leveled and trying to still play my role.
So we are now going into professional T-ball, where we literally celebrate. We celebrate and break down one basket as if something truly epic happened.
Well, also, these fans realize the Lakers are coming in relatively harmless. So root for the kid to score. We're still going to win by 40.
And that is what they did.
That's what the Cavs did. So listen, to some people, it's a great story. And in some ways, it is. But I'm good. I think, can't we all just agree? Listen, if you want to have fun with it, listen, it's not like the NBA regular season moves the needle anyway. So if this gets you through, hey, maybe this will actually be better than the in-season tournament. They're looking for something to get people excited about the regular season. Have at it. I'm good.
He's good, Peter.
And Peter's good. And Michael, you're good.
I am good.
In this sense.
That'll do it for ENN. It's brought to you by Security Dodge. Shop 24/7 at securitydodge.com during their Jeep Adventure deals.
I know you're all lined up to talk. You want to talk. I get you want to talk. Yeah, and we're going to talk. I know. We're going to pick it apart. We're going to break it down. We're going to make it into a fine powder, as Don likes to say. And while we're doing that, Peter is going to be under bubbles in his bath. Welcome back to the Michael K. Show. Yankees lose Game 5 of the World Series. They could have created history just to force it to Game 6, and it was right there. As Aaron Boone likes to say, it was right in front of them, and they dropped it. I mean, they literally dropped it. 2 errors in the fifth inning, and then the non-play at first base, either by Rizzo or by Cole. You choose who you want to blame, and the Yankees gave up 5 unearned runs. 5 unearned runs. Kind of amazing, but that's where we stand. Now, Don has a pumpkin head on. It's amazing. Don, where'd you get that?
It was upstairs. Marco was going to wear it. Can you even hear me?
Yeah, you're muffled.
Yeah, I'll take it off.
Marco is a headless horseman.
Oh.
I'm choking myself here. Hold on. Marco was the headless horseman today for Halloween. And unfortunately, the school had a problem with the bloody stump.
Oh, really?
That's a drop.
So Nancy got him like a pumpkin mask to cover, but it didn't work out. So he was allowed to wear the bloody stump when he went for the trunk or treat at school, but when he was going through the parade and everything, they asked him to take it off. So the mask was unused. I wanted to at least use it on the air for a little bit, but talking was a problem. So
now Peter earlier had on looked like a skeleton shirt.
Right, like from Karate Kid, right?
Right. And Jody got me a button because she knows me, and it's an orange button with black lettering. It said, "This is my Halloween costume."
You're going as Michael K.
No, it's that's a button. That's it. That's the costume.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're button guy. But somebody wasn't like when you were single and you had the rotation and everything. You went to the Halloween parade in the village, if I'm not mistaken, and people thought you were wearing a Michael K. costume.
Right. I was sitting on a mailbox wearing a suit and tie, and these guys came up and he said, what are you dressed as? I said, the Yankee broadcaster Michael K. Dude, you nailed it. You look just like him. And then they just, they stumbled along after that.
Oh, I love that.
And I'm choking myself here. Hold on. There was a Halloween party I went to. I had a giant sweater, and I put on glasses, and I was working. I was in college, so at the college radio station, I got like the headset with the microphone, like the coaches wear, and I went as Ray Hanley.
Oh my!
And a girl punched me in the stomach.
Why?
Because I was Ray Hanley. I guess she was a Giant fan and not happy with his coaching, or maybe I was being awkward and she just wanted to get out of the conversation. Could be one of the two. So. Ray Hanley. Unfortunately, the school had a problem with the bloody stump.
Let's go to John in Rockland. John always has something positive to say.
Hey, Michael, Don, Peter, thank you for taking my call. Just first, quick two notes. Hockey note, I'm rooting for the Islanders to have a chance to win the Stanley Cup, being in a new venue, and I like to see them win that. And the Chiefs, I don't want to see the Chiefs win a Super Bowl. I like to see the Bills, and I'm rooting for Josh Allen. And getting to the Yankees now, last night Soto made a catch in front of Judge there, and he looked like he was kind of ticked off with his body language after the catch. I don't know if you guys noticed that, and I'm trying to get your take from that catch that he made and then that body language that he had.
I saw the catch. I did not see any body language at all. He cut in front of Judge in right center field and made the catch. So I know you're trying to sell some kind of a narrative that there's a problem between the two of them. I think they get along great. There's nothing wrong with them at all.
No.
John's amazing.
Well, and the Islander chief and Josh Allen information, what do I do with all that?
Right. I was about to say I don't care, but I'm in a good mood. I'm really not. But
you're not really in a good mood. And listen, if he wants the root for the Islanders to win a cup, it's not feeling it right now. But who knows? Things can change.
Let's go to Steve in Tampa.
Hey guys, I'm first time, long time.
What's going on?
Listen to your podcast almost every day.
Thanks.
Hey, I was at the game last night, fellas, and it was about. I feel about as depressed and disappointed as I possibly ever have after any sporting event, to be honest. But I just want to hammer home my point. I don't think this is like an issue on Boone or anything like that. I'm not defending Boone, so to say, but I mean, I think this is a fundamental cultural problem that the Yankees have in terms of development. Like, we think back to just how the overall year went, and even before I moved down to Tampa, I was a season ticket holder, and I can just see how the team performed. I mean, the brain fart, so to say, is just like a consistent issue. My comment here is I think the Yankees have a good, method of scouting for raw talent and skill sets and developing relief pitchers. Like, they have a history of that, and players with offensive prowess. But in terms of actually coaching, baseball and the fundamentals and developing those skill sets in these super young players as they come up through the system, it's obviously seems like it's becoming a root issue here. And we kind of have to go back to the conversation that was had last year of, do we think the guy Ben Ruda do we think he was right in terms of the Yankees struggling to develop baseball IQ and fundamentals in house?
Well, I listen. I can't speak to what they do in the minor leagues. The Yankees are built, Steve, and we thank you for the phone call, to hit home runs, and they win when they hit home runs, and when they don't, they struggle. So they didn't hit as many home runs as they could have. And, yesterday was a microcosm of the entire year.
Yeah.
They hit home runs to take a lead, and then they booted the ball, and they gave up unearned runs. That's what happened all year. But let's not say the root problem, because they made the World Series. There's only 2 teams that make the World Series. I'm not celebrating it. I understand this is an organization that sells titles and nothing else, but they're one of the last 2 teams standing. You can't say that there's an inherent issue.
Right. But hear me out. But you can't think like that as an organization, to think that you're closer than maybe you actually are. The math tells you you're close. You're one of 2 teams standing. But I remember in one of the early remembrances I have of baseball, the 73 Mets. They went to Game 7 of the World Series against the A's. Didn't feel like they had to make any changes, and they didn't get back again until 86, right? So you don't want to sit there and go, we're good. No, there's things you could still get better at. Right? The Diamondbacks came close last year, Michael, right? And then you make the playoffs the next year. I mean, that's the kind of way the sport's going here. It's not like that you automatically take the next step. All right, this year we lost the World Series. Next year we'll just go out and win it. Well, next year you might finish 82-80 again. You have to try to correct the ills of the team. So, yeah, you're close, but you have to ask yourself, are you really that close? The way that they played, Michael, cost them a chance to win the World Series. That's got to get corrected. Now, whether that means redoing it or replacing players, and so just because you were close, Michael, doesn't necessarily mean that the opportunity is going to be gifted to you again next year.
Yeah, but I don't think that's anything anybody has to worry about. There's going to be a completely different team. So what they should do in acquisition of players is they should get really athletic players that have high baseball IQs.
Yes.
I think sometimes the Yankees get really athletic players and they think that talent wins out over everything. Well, some guys are really, really good athletic and they do certain things well, but they're really dumb baseball players.
Right.
So that's something. And again, I think that's always an issue with the Yankees because that skill set is hard to quantify. There's no number you put on that.
But like the caller, not to defend Boone, but you would think that by the time they get to the major league level, that those fundamentals are already ingrained in them.
But this isn't, it wasn't the young kids that were making the mistakes. It's people, they get from other organizations too. You've got to be able to know how to play the game, when to take an extra base and things like that, where to throw the ball, block the ball, whatever. Gleyber Torres, I think, is a really excellent baseball player with a low baseball IQ. He doesn't have great instincts. He just doesn't. I will talk more about what happened in Game 5 and the entire World Series when we come back. But first, Dom wants to tell you about a car he likes. 28th World Championship, and it's hard to blame Garrett Cole. In the World Series, 12 and 2/3 innings, 1 earned run. And the Yankees were 0-2 in those games. Now, they should have won Game 1. They had, in Game 1, a 86% chance to win probability. Well, it shows you how nonsensical that stat is, but it's the stat that exists. And yesterday, I think that they had a 95% chance to win after they're up 5-0, and they blew it. But I wanted to bring up this one thing. We all question why Aaron Boone took out Garrett Cole after 88 pitches in Game 1, and then said he was cooked. Then yesterday, Cole goes 108 pitches and was an absolute beast. Now, Ian O'Connor, friend of the show, is not working for any outlet now. He's not. He writes books for a living.
And very good books.
Very good books. And he tweeted this out 4 hours ago. So obviously somebody in the know reached out to him and wanted him to get it out. And Ian wrote, Aaron Boone was widely ripped for taking out Garrett Cole in Game 1 after 88 pitches, but a source now says Cole told the Yankees manager that he was gassed. Makes sense, since Boone told reporters, "You'll just have to take my word for it," when asked why he thought Cole was done. Now, here's one thing I want to say. I like Garrett Cole a lot. I love watching him pitch, and I actually like him as a person, too. Good guy. But putting the onus on your manager to take the hit for you and be second-guessed is wrong. What you should have said in Game 1 in the postgame show, you know what? I didn't have anything left, and I told Aaron I had one more batter in the 7th. That's why he took me out. Instead, he did not. He refused to say that. So Boone had to take the hit. And now those are the rules of engagement when you're a manager now.
Right.
You're taking the hit for everything that players do wrong. Like you bring in Tommy Kahnle, which I think was not the right decision, but you bring in Tommy Kahnle, and Tommy Kahnle was awful. But Boone gets put blame for it. So it's just a matter of fairness, because Boone takes a lot of heat, and he's a big boy and gets paid a lot of money to take that heat. But Garrett Cole is beyond reproach, I believe, in Yankee fans. You look at his postseason numbers, they're excellent. If he came out and said, you know what, I just wasn't feeling right, and I told Aaron that's all I had left, you take Aaron off the griddle. Instead, he took all the heat for being a dunce, taking the guy out. Even I said, why would you take a guy out? He was throwing 98 miles an hour. Now, according to Ian O'Connor, Garrett Cole told Boone, I'm done. Is that fair to Boone?
No, it's not. Why can't you own it?
Yeah, I don't get it. Let's just put it on Aaron.
It just seems odd, though, too, Michael, that 5 days ago he's cooked after 88 pitches, and then in his next outing he becomes the first. This is a crazy stat. First pitcher in 2 years in the World Series to exceed 100 pitches in an outing. That blew me away, that it had been 2 years since somebody had thrown over 100 pitches. So what changed? Now, maybe it just, he just didn't feel it the other day. And facing elimination, he felt it. I guess it wouldn't be that crazy, but it just leaves like doubt. Like just own it. All right, I didn't think I could get it done in the 7th inning. I asked out. I know it's weak, but hey, own it rather than your manager taking the slings and arrows. It's just own up to it. And he was a beast. I know he didn't cover first, although if he said he took the bad angle thinking he was able to get it, and it would have been a close play. I don't know if he would have been able to get over in time, and give Betts credit for busting it to make it a close play if indeed he did cover first base. But outside of that, Michael, he was a beast. He was a beast last night.
He was. I tweeted out that was a big boy performance.
Yeah, it was a big boy performance, but that doesn't mean that you're always going to have a big boy performance.
Right, and you could actually say, you know what, I didn't have my best stuff today, and I thought it was better to turn it over to a great bullpen than risk losing the game for the team. Doesn't make you any weaker or anything like that. Instead, Aaron Boone has to take the hit. Okay, fine. So yesterday in the 5th inning, yesterday, to me, was a microcosm of the entire season. In fact, the first 5 innings, the home run by Judge, the home run by Chisholm, the home run by Stanton, boom, they're the New York Yankees. There they are at 5-0. But there's also, in the evil twin to the New York Yankees, they don't play great fundamental baseball. They're not a great defensive team. Now, you look around that diamond, Torres is not a good defensive second baseman. Chisholm is learning the position at third. Soto is not a great right fielder. You can spin it whichever way you want. Has a great arm. Does not track balls well. Just does it. Aaron Judge, all of the defensive metrics are not kind to him in center field. Verdugo is a plus defender in left. I think Rizzo's seen his best days at first, but he's still a pretty good first baseman. And I think Wells does a nice job behind the plate. It's not a great defensive team. It's just not. Now, Judge is a sure-handed outfielder, and I think he's a great right fielder. Again, and I've been watching him this year. I don't see him making mistakes in center. But again, the metrics say he's not a good defensive center fielder. Dropping that ball, I mean, you going to blame Boone for that? Oh, they don't stress fundamentals? I mean, really, Marco probably catches that ball. And that's why Aaron Judge is going to have a hard time sleeping all year, because he knows he has to make that play. The Volpe play, I don't think it was that terrible a play. It was a bouncer that Chisholm couldn't come up with. If he throws a strike, it might actually hit the base runner. And then obviously the play at first base, you could blame Rizzo, you could blame Cole. And I'm going to tell you all, because I watch every inning of every game. And I've watched every inning of every game that Rizzo's played for the Yankees. He has an absolute allergy to taking the ball to first base on a ground ball. You see pitchers, that they have to storm up the mountain to get to first base. I don't know if he's training them to do that. He will not take the ball that often to first. And he was not charging it, and he expected Cole to make the play, and Cole's pointing at him to make the play, and that was the play that turned the World Series. It was. Forget about the errors. That's the play. That's the third out of the inning. No run score.
I blame Cole for that. You have to know at that point, Michael, you know your first baseman, right? And let's be honest, 9 times out of 10, that is the play the pitcher makes. Like, he just kind of stopped.
Yeah.
It made no sense. So, listen, Cole was great, so it's hard to place an entire breakdown on him. Let me ask you one more question about the Volpe play. That was first and second, no out?
Yeah.
Was there any other play to make?
No, because it was a ball in the hole. He couldn't get the force at second, couldn't get the runner at first. The only play was the force at third.
Which is a tough play in general because the ball's hit in front of the runner at second, so they're running. It would have had to be absolutely perfect to get him, but he botched it either way.
So you look at this Yankee team. They should have won game 1. They didn't. They should have won yesterday. They didn't. And if they did, then they're going to L.A. up there 3-2. Instead, now they're home. They're packing their bags and they're ready to go home. And I think one of the most ridiculous things that is sold by the Yankees is World Series or bust. And it started with George, then it went to Jeter, who said it all the time. If you don't win the World Series, you failed. And now Judge has picked it up. It can't be that way anymore. It's a different sport. No team has repeated since the Yankees in the 90s. Not one. You know how long ago that was? Quarter of a century.
Yeah.
Nobody repeats. It's hard to do. So to call the season a failure, I think is ridiculous. Now, was it extraordinarily disappointing and a kick in the teeth? Yeah. It was a really, really painful loss. I believe that this was a World Series they could have won. I picked them in 6. I was wrong. Don and Peter were right. They had the Dodgers in 6. But to lose the way they did, that's what's really, really tough. But to paint the whole season as a failure when you won your 41st American League pennant, I understand what fans are sold, and I understand their feelings. I have a son who was crying last night because they lost. I get that. But to attach the word failure to a team that came within 3 games of winning the World Series, I think is harsh.
Because I could feel any way I want to feel, right? So I look back at the Mets season, and I'm happy with it. I think they lost to a better team. And so I'll hear Yankee fans and say, "Well, that's because you're a loser. You don't have because that's the Mets. We're the Yankees. We it's championship or bust." I think if you look at it logically, you could be frustrated, be disappointed the way that they played. But during the course of the winter, you think back at the 2024 season, you should look back fondly. Your team went to the World Series for the first time since 2009. You had some great memories, some great moments. Don't rob yourself of that. Michael just mentioned it's a different sport now. Nobody repeats. Heck, the 2 teams that represented the American and National League last year in the World Series didn't even make the playoffs this year. There's no dominant team. Nobody has repeated in 25 years. So it's hard. So I'm not telling you to be happy with the way things went down. But can there be a moment, Michael, sometime this winter when you're watching the Knicks or the Rangers or just whatever, daydreaming about spring training coming in a couple of months ago? Boy, that was a fun ride the Yankees gave us. You can't do that. It's got to be a championship. You lost to a better team. I'm sorry. Michael can argue with me. Callers can argue with me. 1-800-919-3776. Michael, I think the Dodgers are a better team. You lost to a better team. Should have gone down differently. There were games that you should have won. We should be going to Los Angeles for a game tomorrow. But I'm sorry, Michael. You look at that. They lost to a better team. Now try to improve, get better. But this isn't 01 where you lost to a Diamondback team that was not in your stratosphere. Or 03. You shouldn't lose to the Marlins. You shouldn't blow an 03 lead to the Red Sox in 04. But to the Dodgers in 2024, Michael, you lost to a better team. Dust yourself off. Get better.
Well, it might be a better team. It's not that much better. It's not a team that you lose 2 games that you had in your pocket. They're more fundamentally sound. You can't give them 6. There aren't many. I don't think you could give the Yankees 6 outs in an inning. So you gave them 6 outs in the 5th inning. Got 5 unearned runs.
But it wasn't like an umpire got in the way or a fan.
You did it to yourself.
You did it to yourself. That's how you mark how good a team you are. Are you good defensively? All right, so they should have won game one, but they pitched Cortez instead of Hill. Aaron Boone's part of the team, Michael. And just because Cortez might have been the wrong guy to bring in doesn't mean he's got to give up the home run to Freeman. Yeah, they should have won, but they didn't. And the Dodgers didn't have those meltdowns. They had one bad game that they lost. But otherwise, they found a way. Michael, they came back from 5-0. I mean, give the other team credit. And also, the errors, with everything that happened, the boneheaded plays, the managerial decision, you have a one-run lead going to the 8th. And you didn't close it out.
And if you closed it out, Don, you know what good shape you're in for 6 and 7?
Yeah, good shape. And also, Michael,
I mean, they used their closer for 2+ innings, and then they used their Game 7 starter to close out the game. If you come back and you win that game, you got them by the throat. You could actually pull this off.
And you didn't do it. And I'm sure that, and give the Dodgers credit, they probably knew that and found a way to win the game. And how about going 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position? Come on, Michael. That's not a fluke. I mean, everybody's there, ready, capable. There were some big bats and big moments that did not come through. So that's all part of the evaluation. Are you good enough? So, yeah, they kicked the ball around and were completely out of it in the 5th inning. But they still had a 1-run lead going to the 8th inning. They were 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position. There's a lot of reasons why you lost, and the biggest reason is you just weren't good enough to win those games.
Now, the postgame, so let's say that the game in the World Series, okay, you got kicked in the teeth. You got your teeth knocked out. Mm-hmm. You're lying on the floor picking up the chiclets, blood spurting out.
Oh, Jesus.
And then Juan Soto, after the game, pretty much says, Yankees don't have an advantage over everybody. So somebody comes up and just kicks you right in the cubes. And Soto's being a businessman. I've told you that all year. All year. He did not give the Yankees any kind of play in the postgame press conference. All 30 teams are equal. Nobody has an advantage. I want to listen to everybody. Well, how about the fans chanting your name? Well, I'm sure ownership listened to that. Listen, it does make him a bad guy. But the whole play that, having a year here, he's going to feel, close. He'll take a lot. No, he's not taking a lot less. A little less, maybe. I doubt that too. Yeah. But a lot less, not a chance.
Michael, let's be honest. If you felt like you were kicked in the cubes last night, it's on you. Because you're the ones that are saying, why would he want to play anywhere else? Monument Park, Yankee Stadium, chance to win every year, get a chance to hit in front of Aaron Judge. We told you. In all likelihood, it doesn't matter. It's about, you know what he said? Everything he said, I can narrow it down into 2 words. Pay me. That's what he said. Like the comment about the fans cheering, that's for ownership. Yeah, ownership. Yeah, tell the Steinbrenners to pay me, and then those fans will be able to chant my name next year in a Yankee uniform.
Right.
But that should have been your thinking the whole time. But fans get caught up, and you love the team, and of course you'd play for the team for free. So you're thinking, well, why wouldn't he sign for a discount to be a New York Yankee? I got a tweet from somebody. Oh, he'll take the bigger money and end up regretting it. I'm not sure he'll regret it.
Wait, why would he?
Because he'll go to a lousy team and not win, and the Yankees win a bunch of championships. He'll regret it. I'm not sure. If he goes for top dollar, I don't think he's going to regret it. They said that about Machado going to San Diego, remember? Oh, he's going to regret going to San Diego. Does he?
And you know what? This is all the more reason why you have to love Aaron Judge. Because he did care about staying for it to be the Yankees. He did. Those guys don't grow on trees. I mean, Juan Soto, you guys, is perfect in every way. Michael, he doesn't bat flip and show out. He's put his head down, run around the bases, absolutely consistent, incredible offensive player, solid locker room guy, everything. But he doesn't give a damn about the team. I don't mean in a bad way.
I think he cares about the team.
I just
No. He wants them to win, but he doesn't have any. There's no emotional connection to this.
There's no emotional connection to the brand. To the NY.
The pinstripes don't mean anything to him. Not at this point. Now, maybe in a world where they give him more money than anyone else, maybe in 5 years it would. But all I'm saying, this is a long way of saying, I know it wasn't perfect. I know he dropped a ball last night, and I know he didn't give you everything you want in the playoffs. Although last night he certainly did a lot. But you got to have appreciation for Aaron Judge. The pinstripes do matter. He gives you everything you want. Except in the playoffs so far, he has not been the guy yet.
It's It's going to be an interesting offseason. And the offseason already started today. There was a trade between the Angels and the Braves, and the Mets signed a relief pitcher to a major league contract. So it started.
It goes quick, man.
It started.
Tomorrow's November.
The key thing with the Yankees with Soto, if you're not going to get Soto, you got to get to work. So it can't be one of those things where Scott plays this out until February, because you're going to be left holding the bag without any replacements for Juan Soto. Now, one other thing that Scott does, he's going to send his guys to where they make the most money. Chris Bryant won a World Series at the Cubs, signed a big free agent contract with the Rockies. He's essentially an Elba. That's where he is. Baseball purgatory. He can't do anything. You think that Alex Rodriguez, I mean, if you injected him with truth serum, did he want to go play in Texas? Under no circumstances did he want to go play in Texas. But Scott found that one owner that was willing to just break the bank. And that's what Scott's going to do with Scott. That's what he's going to do with Juan Soto. Is it going to be the Yankees? I don't know. But Soto showed you and told you last night, I'm up for grabs.
Now, what you have to hope is that there's a little Alex Rodriguez in Juan Soto, because Alex regrets it. I think Alex, grew up a baseball fan, so I think he kind of got led by his nose a little bit, where maybe he should have showed a little bit more backbone and told Scott, listen, I want to go. I want to sign with the Mets, or I want to fight for that trade with the Red Sox, or I don't want to go to Texas. Anything. I don't know if Juan Soto thinks that way, Michael. Like, he may go someplace, and as long as he's the highest paid guy, he's good. I mean, I don't know how Chris Bryant feels about being in Colorado. He might love it. He might love the schools. He might love the weather. He might like to ski during the offseason. He might love it. The fans all think, well, he's got no shot to win. I don't know. Does that matter to him? Everybody wants to be on a winning team, Michael, but if you prioritize the contract and what that means, well, then I don't think you're going to necessarily regret it.
Let's go to Mike in Long Island. Mike. Hello, Mike. Mike?
Hey.
How are you? Well, now you're gone. I mean, really. Let's go to Dave in Westchester.
Super unfortunate what happened there.
Hello, Dave.
Hey, how you guys doing? I only called in because I knew all day everybody was just going to be bombarding Boone, 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 Boone. And I like Boone. I don't think Boone is the problem whatsoever. But did Boone blow the ball? Cabrera blew at second base in game one. Cortez never would have came in the game. Did Boone not cover first base? Did Boone blow the ball in center field that a 4-year-old would have caught? Did Boone throw the ball in the dirt like Volpe did? Boone has nothing to do with all that stuff. I know he's a nice guy and he should be a little bit more, a little bit more stern with the players. Boone's not the problem. I like Boone. I hope he stays, but they're gonna have to find somebody to kick out of there. And unfortunately, it's not going to be the guy that I can't stand, Cashman. But Boone is not the problem. The Yankees just don't play fundamental baseball.
Well, I mean, listen, Dave. I'm a Boone fan. I'm a Boone fan, as you know that. All right, and we thank you for the call. But when you say they don't play fundamental baseball, that is on the coaches and Aaron Boone. I mean, that's what spring training is about. That's what every day before the game is about. So if you, in fact, think that they don't play fundamental baseball, you got to point the finger at somewhere. Now, you can say, well, by the time they get to the major leagues, they should know. They don't. The minors are different than they used to be. You got to teach this stuff. So he said, he was asked a question yesterday about the play for, we do a lot of PFC, pitchers fielding practice, PFP. Okay, but it didn't take. The best pitcher on the team didn't cover first base. So somebody's going to get blamed for that. The fundies are not there. And they don't run the bases well. That's got to be on somebody. And I don't think Aaron Boone is to blame. He is to blame for the pitching change, bringing in Cortez. Yeah. I'll go a long time thinking that was the wrong move. Wrong move. Bringing in Canely yesterday was the wrong move when you could have had Holmes pitch the 8th inning, and then you could have taken him out after one batter and given Luke Weaver a cleaner inning. You didn't do that. Those are managerial decisions. I get that, but when you say they're terrible at fundamentals and you're not blaming the coaches and the manager, well, they've got to get some blame.
Well, but it's also just like everything else. It's organizational. I mean, those fundies have to be taught in Somerset, in Scranton. By the time they get to the major leagues, you hope this organization has ingrained in them all the fundamentals that go along with being a New York Yankee. I think what the fans want out of the manager is unrealistic. Calling those players out in the post-game press conference, benching them when they make a mistake. That's just not going to happen. Right? Make them do push-ups after they swing a pitch out of the strike zone. This is not high school. This is not Little League. There's nothing you really can do. Yes, they need to be a better job fundamentally, Michael, but what's Boone supposed to do in-game? Bench Volpe for a base running mistake? Rip him in the post-game press conference? I know the fans want that, but we've gone over this chapter and verse. He's not going to do that. It's one of the reasons he's here.
Well, right now at Bay Ridge Honda, you can get great prices. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Yankee season is over, falling 3 wins short of a world championship. They're losing 5 games to the Dodgers. Games 1 and 5 particularly painful. Yesterday they had a 5-0 lead, 5 unearned runs in the 5th inning by the Dodgers. Yankees did end up taking a lead after that on a Stanton sac fly, but they couldn't hold it. Let's go to Mark in Jacksonville. Mark.
Hey, guys. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, good, thanks. I'm a very cerebral guy. I don't like to, assess blame, but I'm trying to understand the 5th inning last night. Do you guys think it was more of a case of the gods of baseball, complacency, or kind of like where hitting is contagious, making errors is contagious? And my other question is, any anticipated makeover of the Yankees next year? Do you think Stanton should be retained for the remainder of his contract, or they should make a deal that another team just can't refuse to pick him up?
Well, I'll answer your second question first, Mark. It's all up to Giancarlo. He has a blanket no-trade clause. He's never wanted to be traded before. Now, if you wanted to trade him, this would be the year that you could do it because he had 27 home runs and obviously he had the 7 home runs in the postseason, so he was great. The Yankees have 3 years left of him, but I just don't think he would agree to go anywhere. And the other question is, and we thank you for the call, I don't know how to explain that 5th inning.
Well, you know what
that's baseball, Susan.
You know what I thought about, Michael?
What's that?
Is that the 5th inning is an example on why you don't want to strike out, why you want to put the ball in play. Things happen when you put the ball in play. This home run or nothing attitude robs opportunities. You put the ball in play. Dodgers just put the ball in play. Now, nobody expected it to be that drastic, but what happens? Judge peeks over. Maybe he can double the runner off first, takes his eye off the ball. Runners at first and second, speed on the bags, aggressive Dodger running, not taking anything for granted, forces Volpe into a bad throw. And then, all of it leads to maybe Cole making the wrong decision. Like, putting the ball in play is what it should really be about. And that's why we'd rather strike out than hit into a double play. Well, Michael, how did that work out in the 5th inning? Just having action can sometimes create those types of things. And yeah, it begins to snowball. I really think Cole was probably affected by what happened earlier in the inning. And maybe if they went out and talked to him, maybe it would have calmed him down. I don't know. But if they just went down with 3 strikeouts, then nothing happens. But the fact that they put the ball in play made that inning possible.
Kenny in Long Island. Kenny.
Yes, Michael, this is Ken Klein. Guys, you might not like what I'm going to say. I'm 75 years old, diehard Yankee fan. I coach wrestling, one of the toughest sports on the planet. One of the problems with the Yankees, and has been, Boone did a great job in the playoffs. Did a horrible job in those 2 games. You were 100% right. One of the things that he doesn't instill, and the coaching staff doesn't instill, is mental toughness. This isn't about their physical well-being at this stage in the game. There's all the errors and everything that occurred, mental toughness. You know Dan Gable. You ever hear of Dan Gable?
Sure, of course.
He's a personal friend of mine. He is the king of mental toughness. What you guys got to do, he's got a YouTube video or a podcast video on how he won the 72 Olympic gold medal. Watch that
So
video.
that's on Boone to instill mental toughness in players? Shouldn't they instill it in themselves?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Well, they have a mental skills coach, Kenny. They have a mental skills coach.
Well, what is he doing?
Well, I don't know, but don't blame it on Boone.
Well, how about
I don't think a manager makes a player mentally tough.
But he can.
How?
I coached wrestling for 4 years. What do you think I did with my wrestlers? What do you think?
But your wrestlers weren't getting paid $40 million a year, so you could kick them off the team. Boone can.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter, Michael.
It does matter a lot. You had the hammer over them. What is Boone's hammer over these players?
I disagree with you, Michael. Until you get into a coaching situation and know what you have to do with players, you will not know.
But Kenny, you're talking about coaching high school wrestlers. You could kick them off the team.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you. It does matter when you're coaching professional athletes. You don't have the hammer over their head.
Listen,
they have a guaranteed contract.
He has the right to complain about where he thinks this team is mentally, and if he thinks you have all the right to complain about that. But the comp to high school is just not going to work.
When you talk about mental toughness, okay, first of all, don't give me an individual sport and compare it to a team sport. Look at the mental toughness of the fact is they still took the lead into the 8th inning. Did that take some toughness that despite the fact that they blew the 5-run lead, they come back and then they tack on a run, take the lead? How about the mental toughness of Boone, of Judge after dropping that ball, ripping a ball down the third base line for a double? So I know it's easy to say after the fact that they lack mental toughness because they collapsed in that inning, eventually lost the game. Why is it so hard to just say you lost to a better team? Why do we have to figure? Why do you have to go deep into Boone doesn't not enough mental toughness?
But there were winnable games, so even if the team was better, you should be up 3-2. So that's where I push back a little.
Well, but why?
Because the Yankees should have won Game 1 and 5.
But they
whether you think the Dodgers are better or not, Yankees should have won those games.
Why should they have won Game 1?
If they brought in Tim Hill, they would have won Game 1.
But Aaron Boone's on the team, Michael. He's the manager. You know what I'm saying? You did that to yourself. Like I said, nobody came down out of the sky and touched the Yankees into making the mistakes. Umpire didn't get in the way of a throw. Aaron Boone's the manager. He went to the wrong pitcher. That was a mistake, and the Dodgers took advantage of it. Cortez still doesn't have to give up the home run. And last night, they made those mistakes, Michael.
Welcome in. Anita Mark's in for Dan.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what I'm saying, Peter? You know what I'm saying? I'm not killing I'm just saying that we all want to dive into why these things happen. Boone doesn't instill mental toughness or this, that, and the other thing. Is it just so wrong to say that they made mistakes? The Dodgers took advantage of them. Dodgers probably made some mistakes, but the Yankees couldn't take advantage of them.
Dodgers made very few mistakes. So if you want to say that that's what makes them a better team, that's cool. But
isn't that
the one
part
thing
of it?
I guess it is part of it. One thing I want to push back to the guy Kenny, the Yankees literally have a mental skills and conditioning coach, a guy who's paid very well to do that job. It's not for Aaron Boone to make a guy mentally tough. That's a ridiculous statement. And to compare professional athletes to high school athletes, Kenny, I mean, talk about apples and wrenches. It's completely different. Did they roll over and die yesterday? No, as Don said, they came back. After one of the worst innings in World Series history, they came back to take the lead. I think that shows mental toughness.
But it's all connected. How many times did we hear during the course of the day that 5th inning was a microcosm of their season? That's kind of who they are. They make mistakes. They commit errors. They've had blunders. They've been able to overcome them against most teams because they're really good at what they do. But they ran into a team, Michael, you just can't make mistakes against. I bet you, Michael, play the same game against Kansas City, maybe they find a way to win a game. Because Kansas City's not good enough to take advantage of it. They wouldn't have scored the 5 runs in that inning. Or Cleveland. But this is what happens. You get to the World Series, now you're playing the best of the best, and the Dodgers are the best. They won the championship for a reason. You can't make those kind of mistakes against a team like that. So make sure that in that situation, again, put together a team that's not going to have that kind of collapse. Because, Michael, I think I'd be more on your side if what happened in that 5th inning was an aberration. But we did see that from this team. The 1 for 12 with running or scoring position, that's been a theme for a few years in the postseason for this team. We've seen this before with this team. So those were, listen, it was an aberration for that kind of a collapse in the 5th inning. But those mistakes, if you've been watching the Yankees, you watch every inning, we've seen those mistakes before.
Let's go to Andrew in Queens. Andrew.
You're taking a call. Appreciate you taking a call. It's always like a day of therapy listening to the show after the Yankees get knocked out. Quickly, before my main point, Yankees have to stop playing Frank Sinatra after a loss.
I know that
especially
bothers a lot of Yankee fans.
It's such a terrible, terrible look, especially watching the Dodgers celebrating on their field, and you're hearing New York, New York. I get it. It's an institution. People love hearing it, but you got to read the room better than that.
Is my memory wrong, Mike? I could have sworn, and I guess I'm probably wrong, that they would play Frank after a win, Liza after a loss.
You're right.
So why did that stop?
I don't know. I don't know why they feel they have to play New York, New York when they lose.
It makes they shouldn't play anything.
I mean, do they play Love L.A. when the Dodgers lose?
Good question. I'm not sure.
They can't.
And I know it really bothers young Yankee fans a lot. I see it on social media. They're incensed about it. So I don't know why they do it. He wanted to say, how does that rank in all-time Yankee losses? I mean, nothing I think stings as much as Game 7 in 2001.
No, how could it?
What happened in 2004, those 4 losses in a row. Bill Mazeroski's home run in 1960. I mean, there's a lot of tough. This was not a 7th game.
Because we don't know what was going to happen, Michael, but even if they won last night, does that mean you're winning the series?
Nope.
It still would have been tough to go and take 2 more from Los Angeles, so you'd love the opportunity. But 0-1 came in Game 7. You know, the collapse in 0-4 and obviously getting bolted in Game 7 in Yankee Stadium, that's got to be bad. You know, the Game 6 loss to the getting shut out by Josh Beckett. Like, those are all that if you had won the game, like the Mazeroski, you win the series. In 0-1, you win the series. In 0-3, you at least forced a Game 7. So I'm not saying it makes you feel better, Michael, but do we know they would have gone to L.A. and won 2 in a row? So for it to be a Game 5, Michael, I think it knocks it down a few pegs, doesn't it?
No, absolutely. And it wasn't like Freeman's home run. It wasn't a walk-off loss. It was a compilation of mishaps and miscues, and the 5th inning will live in infamy. Now, if you want to say, is that the worst inning? Well, some people forget the Yankees had an awful inning in the 8th inning in 1960 that allowed Mazeroski to hit the home run in the 9th. So, I mean, if you're watching the games in 1960, you probably think that 8th inning was a terrible one. I'm just told by Mike Vaccaro of the New York Post that George Steinbrenner is the one who stopped playing Liza after losses because he liked Liza personally, and he thought it was disrespectful to play her only after losses.
Now, was that so they would go all Frank, or they just wouldn't play anything?
No, they went all Frank.
All right, well, it's a bad choice, and
why play
it just makes zero sense. That should be a song that you associate
with winning,
with the happy feeling of winning in New York, not losing.
I don't know. At the Garden, Anthony may know the answer. They play the Rangers fight song when they win. Makes sense. Then there's another song they play. I don't know what song it is, but it's just known for we lost the game. So play something else, especially when it's the last game. I don't know. That's just. Do you know that's what that song is, Anthony, that they play when the Rangers lose at the Garden?
I know it's Sadness.
It's,
but I don't know.
But somebody will tweet me. But yeah, play something different. So all right. So I didn't misremember, Michael. It was Frank after wins, Liza after losses.
And there's a couple people that are texting me and also tweeting that it was Liza who also said, "Hey, stop using me as the official voice of defeat. I don't want to be that." So that's why they stopped using her as well. Alex Fuse, one of the guys who's going to end up running ESPN one day.
I hope so.
He said that they should play That's Life by Frank Sinatra.
That's a good one.
Isn't that perfect?
Yeah.
That's life.
Come on.
I mean, we've got a lot of stuff to solve this winter, Don.
There's
a lot of problems.
There's a lot of things to do.
What we got to do is we got to get in the ear of the guy that pitched the whale with 2 strikes, because then it'll get done.
I think that was pitched from way up high.
Because even Cole can't. Didn't Cole say he didn't like it?
And it continues.
Every time I hear that, I think, Cole can't get it changed. Guy's making $36 million a year. He can't get it changed.
By the way, shout out Reddit. It's New York Hustle by Mick Jagger.
What is
the Rangers?
The Rangers losing song.
Yeah, I never heard it before.
And I hate it.
Yeah, why? Because they lost.
Yes.
You don't want to hate Frank Sinatra for play That's Life. Don't play New York, New York. That's for winners.
Speaking of winners, Peter, let's tell all the people that listen to us, and we love every single one of them. You're family to us. Tell them about Bath Fitter. show, everybody. Listen, I want to give a shout out. We did our pregame show at Yes from the right underneath the scoreboard in center field, over the field. Great spot. And, by 7 o'clock, we had done our 2 segments. So the game didn't start till 8:08. And by walking up, that's where all the standing room people are. And I took pictures for 45 minutes each day. And it was a blast. And I cannot tell you how many people love the show and watch the show. Say hello to Don. Say hello to Peter.
Really?
So thank you to all those people.
Awesome.
Where were you when we actually were rated and you could have had a meter? I do wonder, but it's amazing how many people said that. And they didn't have to say that because they know me obviously from the Yankee games. But love the show. Watch every day. Now maybe that's a little bit of a problem too, that they're watching on Yes and not listening on radio. But
yeah, that's probably
good for Yes.
People love the show. I'm very happy they do, and that's really cool.
Yeah, it was very nice. Nice to meet and greet people. Very nice.
Say that about us, Peter. They got Michael there, but they obviously must care if they mentioned us.
Oh, love you guys. I think that it's so funny. They go, "Can I get a selfie?" Because I know I'm not busy. I don't have anything to do. I really had nothing to do. Because I'm not doing the game. Now, if I was doing the game, I'd be rushing up to the booth or whatever. But I said this is a perfect time to do that.
But you still don't have to do that, Michael.
But I love people that take whatever amount of time out of their day to listen to us.
That's very cool. I got to meet Avi Blitzer yesterday.
I saw a picture.
He won the Game Misconduct Bracket Challenge. We do it every year on the podcast. Whoever wins the bracket, I say I'll go out and I'll get you your favorite authentic jersey. And his favorite player was Alexei Lafreniere, so I got it for him. And he lives in Peter's building, so that was pretty cool. And I presented him with the jersey, and he wanted me to sign it. And Peter talked him out of me signing it on the number. I signed the inside of the jersey. Let Alexei Lafreniere sign the jersey. Who am I? But he's a big fan, and it was cool to meet him.
What you could have done is you could have signed Alexei Lafreniere's name.
Well, that's forgery.
True. Let's go to Andrew and T-Net. Andrew. Andy.
Touch base on the hello?
Yeah, sure. What's up?
Yeah, sorry. I'm just going to touch base on the motivational coach and all that. I think it does speak volume when your actual coach can motivate his team. Just like I remember when Coach Coughlin did in 07-11. I don't think you need an outside person to rally them, to bring them together, to come, give them that extra energy. I don't know. That's just something I want to touch on.
But Andrew, most teams have mental conditioning coaches because people take, mental issues very, very seriously. It doesn't mean that the mental conditioning coach, and we thank you for the phone call, sits there and does rah-rah stuff.
Right.
He's talking them through issues that they might have. Because he's not a psychiatrist, but it's like somebody that he's there to help you deal with your problems, to focus, things that you should do, to keenly focus on things. That's his job, and every good team has that.
But it's not football, where the Newt Rockne speech is going to get them running through a wall and give more effort. It's not a lack of effort. It's just mechanics. Maybe focus comes into play, although I don't know why you wouldn't be focused. It's Game 5 of the World Series. But, Michael, giving a guy a pep talk is going to make him go out there and hit a home run?
But But I don't want people to miss. It's not a pep talk guy.
No, but you know what it is?
It's a guy who sits there, tell me what you're thinking. I mean, really, he's calmly talking through things.
But also what works, Michael, is what Judge did with Wells the other night. Hey, take a look at this, like the mechanics of the swing. Let's pay attention to what the pitcher's doing. Baseball is a lot closer to, I think, tennis and golf than it is football or hockey, where I think you can motivate a team and get them spitting teeth and jumping out on the ice or jumping out on the field and just overpowering the opponent. That's not baseball. Baseball is cerebral. It's mechanical. It's a different way of going about. I'm not saying you can't give speeches. Hunter Pence had that big speech against the Reds, remember, 10 years ago or 12 years ago. So there are moments, but Michael, what happened in that fifth inning is not that they didn't care. It's not a lack of effort. Just it's a lack of execution.
Right. Now, I mean, in game one, the big play was, Torres not blocking that ball on the throw from Soto. That's a terrible mistake. Is that Aaron Boone's fault? You've got guys that have some holes in their game. Gleyber Torres is a very nonchalant defender. Now, Aaron Judge doesn't have a hole in this game. I don't know why he dropped that ball. It's a baseball god thing.
Well, he took his eyes off it, so the question is why? Was he trying to double the runner off at first? But he's going to make that, Michael, literally the next 1,000
times out of 1,000,001.
He's going to make it. It just happens. That's baseball. Why did Neighbors drop a wide open slant pass that might have resulted in a touchdown against Pittsburgh? It happened. It's not that they didn't want it. Some motivational speech isn't going to all of a sudden make him catch it. You know what a motivational speech will do? Maybe get you to go through an arm tackle or make you give a little bit extra effort in a play. But that's not how you catch a baseball.
You want a sobering fact? So MLB free agency has officially begun.
Mm-hmm.
Juan Soto is no longer listed on the official Yankee roster.
Damn, that is...
What the F?
The way this happened was so quick.
Yeah.
Like last night we had to be reminded, by the way, I hope you enjoyed it. It's probably over.
All right, we'll come back. We'll find out who the point guard is today. We got a lot to do still. Please do it with us. Hey, when you work hard, you save hard. All right, now, one thing that we have not addressed yet today is that Bob Costas is retiring doing baseball play-by-play.
We should get him on.
Yeah, why don't we get him on tomorrow, Anthony? Can we do that?
Because, honestly, he's 72 years old. It's one of three things. That maybe he feels it's time. Or his performance, it wasn't up to his standards and he says it's time. Or I hope this isn't the reason that he's succumbed to the fans and the ridicule that he experienced because of the mistakes that he made.
Maybe it's all of those things together.
I hope not, because how I feel about Bob. But I thought the criticism was justified. There were some mistakes that he made. I don't think he should get beat up for it, but I think two things could be true, that you could be a legend and maybe play-by-play is not necessarily your thing. But I'd like to know the reason for this.
Do you know,
I hope it's
Peter,
not
what I'm going to go out and trick or treat after the show?
Mm-hmm.
Sure you are.
I'm going to get dressed up as Don's favorite character, Sir Come.
But I didn't do it this
it was
time.
very hard to come up with the costume.
Yeah.
But I didn't do it this time.
He's British.
I didn't do it this time.
I know you didn't, but it just made me think of the times that
I
you
would
did.
think it would be that you wouldn't be able to wear the mask. The same philosophy as why Marco wasn't able to bring in the bloody stump.
Oh, gotcha.
And it really, it kills me because they're so in class pictures, and I'm like, the costume doesn't work. Like you see his head. It's just like, what is he dressed up as? Like, come on, it's fake blood, guys, and a bone.
Yeah, what's wrong with a bloody stump?
Really?
I mean, he's in kindergarten. It will frighten kids.
He's in first grade.
Then it will frighten kids.
At what point?
What do you mean, at what point?
At what point do you just let show them the world?
I think 6 is...
So am I a bad dad for having a costume that has a bloody stump?
Absolutely.
No, nothing could make you a bad dad, Don. Nothing. We know your heart. You're too good. But I do understand the logic of the bloody stump being a bridge too far.
No, if I had Jimmy rigged some kind of where all of us blood spurting out of the top, then I could say, all right, maybe I went too far. It's not that bad, guys. I'll show you the picture. I'll send the picture to you. And you tell me if this is off brand.
Let's go to the phones as Don's searching the picture.
Yes, do
Tony in Baldwinsville. Tony.
Is that a place?
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Okay. I had a question. I think now that the season's over, I think the owner of the Mets got a taste of the playoffs, and I think he will spend whatever, or at least he'll offer whatever he thinks will get him Soto. But my question to you is, I don't think the Yankees will outbid him. So therefore, are there 3 or 4 free agents you think the Yankees should focus in on to fill in some of the holes?
I mean, it's a little early, Tony, but I will, off the top of my head, I think that Torres is gone. So you move Chisholm from third to second. That opens up third base. Alex Bregman, who's also represented by Boras, is available. You sign him to play third. Will the Yankee fans stomach an Astro coming here? Who knows? I think you go after Corbin Burns, make your starting rotation even better. Maybe go after a reliever. I don't know if any big-time closer is available on the free agent market. And you could also look at Anthony Santander and put him in right field to replace Soto. Santander had 44 home runs. But I don't want if Soto leaves, I don't want to get a right fielder because I want Judge to play right field. That's where Judge should be playing. So a lot of moving parts, and there's also trades there. I just saw the picture. It's scary.
Michael, I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
This costume is a lot for a 6-year-old.
Oh, my God. You're so right. It's hideous.
I mean, listen, remember how I just said a few minutes ago? First of all, the picture is wonderful. Jalen pretending to be scared is amazing. I love it. Remember a few minutes ago when you asked Don, are you a bad dad?
This answers it.
I'd like to rescind. I think you are.
Don, this is really rough,
But it came in his size.
This is tough. What'd you say?
It came in his size.
I mean, that doesn't make it right. And this may have been for smaller adults. I mean, this is he's really stark, a bloody stump.
Yeah, this is.
And Michael, there's like bones sticking out of the top.
Yeah, it's awful.
It looks like he looks like Joe Theismann's leg walking around the streets of New Jersey.
Come on, it's Halloween, man.
Are you in or are you out? Is that what you're saying?
But he's a young kid.
But it's the Headless Horseman. This is Sleepy Hollow. This is the story.
But I understand the story. So you know what? Jack the Ripper's also a story. Do you want
Not that they tell kids? No. Wait a minute.
Hold on, Michael.
The Headless Horseman story. They tell kid stories. That's told in to kids. Not Jack the Ripper.
Michael,
wow. Okay.
What are we getting next year? I mean, you can have Jay Lynn as Pinhead from Hellraiser. I mean, where are you going here?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
You asked us, is it too much?
Listen, I did.
I think Peter and I are in agreement. It's too much.
This is a lot.
I mean, it does. It show. I think you're a great dad. I really do.
One of the greats.
But a blind spot, like I can't believe that you think that's okay.
I do.
Well, Anthony Greek is going to put it up on yes.
Put it up, and I tweeted it out.
I couldn't be happy.
If you're listening on 880, get to a TV right now because you're going to want to see what Don thinks is okay.
That is a little much.
The bone is what gets me, Peter. The bone sticking out of the neck.
Anthony, if you said this is Joe Theismann's leg walking around, it would be appropriate. There's bone and blood. I mean, it's a massacre.
It's a good costume, though.
It's a great costume. I mean, like if you guys were having a party at the house this weekend, like an adult Halloween party, and you had him walking around with this, all of your friends would laugh and find it amazing. But for children, this could lead to therapy.
Well,
and you know a guy.
I do know a guy.
He wasn't allowed to wear it in school, but he was.
But not because of Dad, because the teacher said no.
Oh, we sent him with it. And then he wasn't allowed to wear it during all the stuff, but the trunk or treat, he was able to wear it. And he's going to wear it tonight when we go trick-or-treating.
Unbelievable.
Is it really unbelievable?
It kind of is. Even Peter said. Peter usually doesn't go along with me.
Listen, I'm into it, Don, but this is it's intense.
It's a lot.
But this photo, you framed this photo and put it up in the house. It's an unbelievable photo of Jalen.
Let's go to Perry in Jersey City. Perry.
Hey, how are you this evening?
Good. How are you?
Great. You know, I'm in the car. You guys are wonderful. I love all of you. And the reason I was calling, I know that Peter is a big Washington fan.
Oh, you're damn right I am.
I find myself with an extra ticket to Sunday's game. So if you don't already have plans to go, I would love to treat you to a ticket.
Wow, what a lovely gesture. But wow, that is so nice.
Can't do it. Show me something.
No, I absolutely can't do it, though.
Why?
Because no, it's such a sweet offer. I'll tell you why, Don. And you're going to make fun of me and call me a bad guy for radio, but in reality, you'll agree. I went to the game in Baltimore a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to the game against Dallas in Washington. I've had a lot of travel weekends. I can't do like 7 hours at MetLife on Sunday. But I can spend time with Natalie. I have a friend visiting. We can just watch the game and enjoy it. Michael, do I need to go hang out at the big Venetian blind for 7 hours?
But, I mean, Perry is really reaching out. Perry sounds like a delightful person.
So, Perry, you're a great guy. I couldn't appreciate it more. Are you rooting for Washington or you're a Giants fan?
No, I'm a Giants fan, and I did want to mention that last year I extended the same offer to Ray Santiago, who I also love, and his crew in the morning, and he joined us at the game.
How about that?
He did.
The crap out of the Giants.
He doesn't look down at people.
Yeah,
See, I knew you were going.
Let me ask you this, Peter. If Ric Flair asked you to go, would you go?
I mean, if Ric Flair, Don, that's a long day I'm signing up for. I mean,
but you would go. So obviously, who asked you affects.
No.
Jay-Z should have been a lawyer, Don.
All right, Jay-Z asked me, yes, I'm going.
All right, well, there you go.
So Jay-Z's better than Perry, is what
that's
you're
what you're saying.
Well, I'm saying at that point, it would have benefit that I think goes beyond the enjoyment of the football game, right? But, like, honestly, Ric Flair, I'd have to think long and hard. And I know Rick, and I love him. Woo! But, I mean, that's a long day with a lot of drinking. Woo! Yeah, I see lots of that.
Wow.
But what a nice guy Perry is. But Don, you know what? That's what I said. I knew you were going to call me a bad guy. You know that when you're planning on staying home to watch football, it's not exactly appealing to be like, oh, I want to go to the game.
You know what, Don? He keeps saying Perry's a nice guy, but in effect, what he did was he hopped up some phlegm and spit right in Perry's eye.
He's a nice guy, just not nice enough.
Right.
By the way, you two, this is what makes our show work.
What is it? I've always wondered.
Because as God as my witness, if the exact same thing had happened to any one of the three of us, all three of us would have said no, and in every setting, the other two would have completely roasted the other one for not going, even though not one of us would say, you know what, Perry, lovely stranger, I am going to go to MetLife, just me and you, on Sunday. Not one of us would do it.
Do you know that I dated a girl named Perry, P-E-R-I?
Really?
Yeah. It's just
Perry?
Yeah, Perry.
Like Peri sauce?
What's Perry sauce?
Oh, you don't know what Peri is?
No, what's Peri?
Oh, it's one of the most delicious chicken flavors of all time.
Do I know?
I guess you didn't go to Nando's. I guess you didn't go to Nando's when you were in foggy London town. Yeah.
Can you think of one female Perry? First name.
I'm not 100% sure the one Michael's talking about is that. I mean, this is...
Wow. I met her during the Final Four in Lexington, Kentucky. She lives in Kentucky.
You met her during the Final Four in Lexington, Kentucky?
Yeah, the one that Georgetown lost to Villanova.
So you were just down there covering it
for the Post.
And she was just, a young co-ed walking around campus?
She wasn't on campus. I met her at a farm.
A farm?
Sorry?
A farm.
Was this the start of a horror movie? Is this a Halloween story we're getting right now?
Behind the chainsaws?
No, there was a big party the NCAA put up. I think it's some farm in a horse farm in Kentucky.
Excuse me? What kind of farm?
A horse farm.
Oh.
You know what?
I never heard of that kind of farm before.
You've never heard of a horse farm?
Well, now that we're clear on what you said, it makes sense.
Horse sounded like something else.
Yeah, I'm
So you made it into whores. That's what you did.
Oh my!
I mean, this is what you're saying, right?
I was there, Peter.
You know what?
Because let's clear it up for our listeners. He's a pig, is what he is.
No. So real.
I don't know they have such farms.
So real quick, Don is inappropriate for dressing his kid up like a crime scene on Halloween, but you decide to announce to everyone's child on Halloween. In case you're curious, Peter was talking about whores. That's what you think?
It's a whore farm.
I was just going to let it be.
Perry may or may not have been a female.
No, Perry Mason was not a female. This is Perry, P-R-I.
Don, that's the beauty of my humor. I let it just be, and then Michael comes out and stomps on it.
But you're right, that is the show.
It really, none of us would have gone. Now, and by the way, hold on. This is a story I didn't even get to tell you.
But I would never go with anybody that I don't know. I would not accept food from somebody I don't know.
Can I tell you this, Don, without getting specific about what the item was? Can I tell the story about Anthony before the show yesterday?
Yes.
Don was gifted something beautiful, okay? And it was of a team, Don, that Anthony loves. A team that he wears their own clothing by his own choice.
Right.
Don gets it and goes, this is so lovely, but I don't need it. And offers it brand new in the package to Anthony. And by the time he could get the question mark out of his mouth, Anthony just hit him with the, I'm good.
Absolutely not.
Well, I heard what Anthony said. He said, it's too big for me.
No, but he said absolutely. Who says absolutely not when someone offers you clothing from their team?
We have poisoned Anthony. He's become us.
What am I going to do with it?
But
well, hold on. You'd seen the size?
Yeah.
And you'd unfold, because it was in a package.
Yeah.
You hadn't unfolded it and looked at it.
Set it on the front of the package.
But an extra large.
Yeah, but you got
those
to look
things,
at each.
Though they would have looked nice. He could get away with that.
Well, Anthony, it's an extra large sweatshirt, correct?
Yeah.
Well, you don't need to wear it's a hoodie. You don't wear a snug hoodie. It's a team hoodie.
Yeah. Wear it, shove
Anthony, I think you did the right thing. If he could turn down Perry, you could turn down Don.
You're missing the point, Michael. It's not the fact that he declined. It was the fact, absolutely not.
No, he didn't even consider it. It was just fascinating.
I was offering him my stool. It was just an odd reaction. That's all. Absolutely not.
Absolutely
if he had just said no, thanks, it's probably a little too big for me. I'm good.
I'm at the Cola Guard box.
Yeah, I mean. By the way, speaking of Perry and giving away clothes, Jacob, I have some clothes to give you. You won't say no. I know it.
Oh no, I'm not turning down nothing for you.
There you go. My kind of guy.
You have clothes for Jacob?
Yeah, I have some. You know the Yankees jacket I got?
You're giving him that?
No, I'm not. Oh. Absolutely not. In the words of Anthony Pusick, absolutely not. But I do have a pair of pants that won't work for me that I think he would like.
You think he'll fit into them?
I think so. Yeah, they're a little snug on me. I think they'll work for Jacob.
Right. I appreciate that. What about the Gucci jacket?
No, we're good. Let's wrap it up.
Nice.
Yeah, why don't you give him the little astronaut jacket?
No, I can't give him the Astro. The jacket it was a good luck charm until it wasn't.
All right, Anita Marks coming up next. We have a big Football Friday show tomorrow. Good luck to the Texans. See everybody. Have a great night.